Welcome, one and all, throughout time and space, for this episode of Weebs on the Weekends, the podcast where we break down the anime news highlights of the week and give a retrospective look on an anime that premiered 10 years ago. Today's episode, we will review the anime that was published in the year 2024 and compile the Weebs on the Weekends annual top 10 anime list. My name is Sam Martinez. I'm a part-time weeb, full-time automail mechanic. With me today is our part-time regular guest, Alonzo. Thanks again, man, for coming on and giving us your input regarding the anime for this past year, man.
Yeah, of course. I'm always happy to come on and give a little, biased insight from my end.
Bias. Oh yeah, your bias, my bias, even everything out a little bit, right? So
Exactly.
do you have like any overall thoughts with the anime happenings or 2024 in general?
Yeah. So
Hmm.
while I was making my list, I kind of went through and looked at, all the anime I watched in winter, spring, summer, and then, now fall, and realized I don't know if this was just because like my schedule changed or something, or like I don't know what it was, but I just watched a lot less anime as the year went on. I watched like 6 shows in winter, 3 in spring, 3 in summer, and then just two like actually that's not even true. I watched more than those like in winter. It's just I dropped a lot more shows that I
Oh,
even
okay, that's
put
what
in
it
for
is. I was about to
consideration.
say, it seems
Yeah.
like because we have a watch party together, and I'm like, I could swear it's like you've watched a little bit more than just 6 shows, my guy.
Yeah, yeah. So it's just that I just dropped a lot more shows like
Yeah.
earlier in the year, and so I think just towards the end, maybe because it's like, oh, I've gone through X amount of like shows. I don't really feel like starting another one that I may not like, so I just kind of stuck with stuff that I knew I would enjoy.
No, that's totally fair. Because I think like oddly enough, now that you mention it, I realize recently like I dropped a few animes as well, and like I was trying to start some of the stuff because Netflix had released some stuff recently. I know they dropped the Laura Croft anime. There was another
What?
one. Yeah,
There's a
Laura
Lara
Croft.
Croft anime?
Yeah, there's the Laura Croft Tomb Raider dog. And
Stepping
what's
into
what's her
territory?
name? It was Peggy from the MCU. She voices Laura Croft.
Oh, cool.
I think Peggy? Yeah, Captain Britain. Wait, is it
Haley Atwell.
that one? Yes, Miss Atwell. And it's funny, all the memes that came out because they'll show them side by side. It's like, look at what they stole from us by not making it live action.
Damn.
Yeah, mentioning that like it's just very interesting like the trying to bring it back the wide range of what came out in anime this year. And like I said,
Mhm.
like Netflix had dropped a few one I want to say because I was just thinking about Secret Level on Amazon. That's not
Mhm.
necessarily anime, but it's more or less appear because of gamer culture, like
Mhm.
how they're intertwined. And would you consider Vox Machina an anime, or is it more or less like how Avatar is?
So, so it's a little complicated, right?
Yeah.
Because I think it comes down to like, well, what do we consider anime,
Mm-hmm.
right? I think this, in my opinion, the stupid definition is, well, anime from or like animation from Japan. I'm like, well, that's dumb and reductive, right? Like, I think there is more like there is definitely a style to anime, right? It's
Yeah.
varied and it's like by genre. There's a style to it. There's a feeling to it, right? That's why so many people say that Avatar: The Last Airbender is an anime because it feels like one, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
regardless of what like the animation style is, it feels like one. So like I haven't watched Vox Machina, so I can't say with certainty one way or the other. Like, have you watched it?
Yeah, I have. I
Does
have.
it feel like an anime? Because if it doesn't, I think it would be, right? And
It's
I
a
think
bit
that's.
different because
Hmm.
of the story, right? I would
Hmm.
say the art style, it's there. As far as like
Hmm.
the feel, mainly like the storytelling and things like that, it feels very much like an American production, just
Okay.
because of the campaign itself, right? It's not it, the storyline's not told in a anime like style, at least not in my opinion. But the animation, the action, choreography, it's there. So
Okay.
it's like it takes cues from it, but
Hmm.
when you look at it, it looks very, very anime. But then when you start watching it, it's
Hmm.
like, oh, this it feels American. But
Okay. So then, like,
yeah.
you wouldn't say it's anime just because it doesn't feel like anime, right?
So I guess like it's more or less closer to Teen Titans than
Okay.
Avatar.
See,
Or
but
but then
like,
again, we're
I
getting in the weeds and yeah.
well, no, because like I would say that Teen Titans is anime because it feels like anime, right?
Oh yeah, no
Like,
no no yeah, you're right. Okay, so
like,
then yeah, Avatar would be on the yeah. Well, there's still on opposite ends, but I'm
well, no,
sorry.
because
Yeah,
like
finish your thought.
to me, Avatar and Teen Titans are on the same side of like
Hmm.
feels like anime, and then like Johnny Bravo to me doesn't feel like anime, right? It is like it just does
Yeah.
not.
Sorry.
Um,
You just
hot
reminded
take.
me. Oh, you
Go ahead.
got
No, go for it.
don't.
Go
Oh,
for it.
you're
Go
gonna
for
give
it.
me a hot take on Johnny Bravo?
No, not on Johnny Bravo. I was gonna say
Yes.
Kids Next Door is anime.
Oh.
Because I feel as though
Hmm.
it is straight up a shonen, right? Like
Yeah,
it's
you have.
like
Yeah, I can see that. I can see that. I can see
it's
that.
artistically, American in
Artistically,
like the way it looks,
yeah.
but the way it's storytelling, the world, the way it builds its worlds, it's episodic. It and like just it is so very shonen coded that like I can't like yes, it is an American cartoon, but I see it as anime in the sense that like if someone I probably wouldn't like
Hmm.
someone's like, oh, can you recommend me an anime to start on? I probably wouldn't say Kids Next Door, but if someone was like,
I was gonna
hey,
say it's like you're just show them like this American production. It's like yeah, Kids Next
well,
Door.
here's
Yeah.
here's the thing though, right? But
Hmm.
if they were like, "Hey, I've never really gotten into animation, and I hear anime is really good. What would you recommend?" Right? I would then start them on either Avatar: The Last Airbender or Kids Next Door, right?
Hmm.
Because I think they're good starting points that get you into that like realm instead of just dropping you into like because like the storytelling is very different in anime than it is in Western shows,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
Like how it's pacing and like how it's structured. And I think those two shows do a good job of bridging that gap. Which is why I say that they feel anime, right? It's like they are closer to anime than they are to Western cartoons. Um, so like showing them that it's like they start to get the feel of it, so that when they get into like Japanese made anime, then it is far easier to kind of like take it in, right? It's not as jarring of a change,
Hmm.
um, in pace and storytelling and etc. Right?
It's just a bit funny because when you mentioned Kids Next Door, knee jerk reaction, I was gonna be like, hell no, what are you talking about? Because
Hmm.
it feels when you're saying like episodic and stuff like that, it's like, well, you got shows like Ben 10 who are exactly the same thing. You have your
Hmm.
bad guy of the week, you have your monster of the week. But thinking on it, ruminating on it, Kids Next Door, it sort of reminds me of early Digimon in a sense
Yeah.
where essentially like when they're in the digital world they're like the I would say the story beats are very very similar, so I can concede. Well, I would have to go back and rewatch some of the Kids Next Door stuff, but I can
Hmm.
see how the storytelling elements are there and how there was even the episode where they had a reference to Dragon Ball Z. I think it
Yep.
was number 4. How
Yep.
he went.
No, 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 no,
Yeah,
no.
yeah.
Got to say it right. It's not number four. Number four.
Number
Okay.
number 4.
Yes. They are numbers,
I can't
not
do the
numbers.
I can't do the Australian accent though.
You don't got to do that. You don't got to do that. But just gotta say number.
But back to anime and the topic. So like for us when we were making our list, and we also have Jay's list as well. He
Oh,
wasn't
sweet.
able, yeah, he wasn't able to make it in today, but like as we're going through, we'll be able to go through his stuff as well. So essentially, what
Hmm.
we did, or what we're going to be doing for making our list, we are reviewing anime that came out this year, and we're also visiting sequel seasons as well that came out this year. And we will be playing the game known as Weebsketball. And essentially, we would go through each ranking of our top 10, and we would each give out our anime for that ranking,
Hmm.
to which the others would say bench, Kobe, or Yeet. Bench
Hmm.
being that your anime was not on our list. Kobe meaning that's the same exact spot for the anime. We're sharing the same brain cell. And Yeet
Hmm.
meaning I like that pick, but it's higher up on my list. And that's how we would be going through Weebsketball. We'll go through each of our lists, giving a couple of thoughts, maybe a little
Hmm.
bit of discourse on our picks, and then by the end, we will go through and compile a an official Weebs on a Weekend's top 10 list for the anime 2024. And I'm a bit excited because like looking at Jay's list, it's I have a feeling that all of our lists are going to be a bit different. And if we have time to, we can also
Oh,
go a little bit over the honorable mentions because like I said, this year it's been a wide variety of anime that's been out there.
yep.
And sometimes when we give out recommendations like you as you mentioned earlier, like they may be too anime or not necessarily the genre that's some people like, so at least like knowing like what all is out there, what all is present, uh
Hmm.
is good for the masses. So as before we move forward, just wanted to say time codes are going to be in the description, and the diddly doos box words and things. So, all right, now as we go into the top 10, let's go ahead and let's change the scenery here. All right.
Woo! And now
Yes.
your top 10 anime of 2024.
2024. Yes. So we will be starting out with our number 10. And Alonzo, why don't you go ahead and give us your spot for your number 10?
So it's really funny that you're showing Hitman Reborn.
Of course,
Because
there's a theme. Yes.
some would argue
Hmm.
that, these kids are a bunch of delinquents, you know.
How
My
so?
number 10.
Yeah.
What do
Okay.
you mean how it's
Okay.
a
Okay.
bunch of kids being rowdy. What do you mean? They're supposed to be
Rowdy
in
Rough
school
Boys.
and they're out there fighting other kids like they're delinquents, okay?
Hmm.
We're going to call them how we see them. They're just portrayed better
Hmm.
than the kids that we're going to talk about. My number 10 is Windbreaker.
Oh my days. Okay, you're starting out with that. Okay. So,
Yes.
with me, that is a yeet. It's going to be
Ooh,
further
okay.
on down on my list, and let me see. It's also a yeet for Jay. So,
Ooh,
yeah,
okay.
I'm
Okay.
just I'm just looking at it. It's hot. My so on my list, it's a little bit higher. So when we get back to my choice for Windbreaker, we can talk about it a little bit
Yeah, sounds
there.
good.
All right. So, oh my goodness, just coming out of the gate swinging there. Now, we'll go ahead. We'll go with Jay's top 10. And for Jay, he has Wistoria, Wand, and Sword. That's his top 10.
Oh. I I literally just benched it.
No!
I shifted
Ah!
everything down by one and took it off my top 10.
No!
It would have been my
No!
number 10, but I literally put in a different show. Like I was like, oh wait, I forgot about this. Added it on and just shifted everything down one,
Oh my
and it literally
goodness.
just went. Doo.
No, it just,
Yeah,
oh man, it just
it
made the,
for me. It just barely did not make the cut.
oh my
Um,
goodness.
because
Oof.
Wisteria was
Hmm.
phenomenal.
Yes, it was. Let's see. For Wistoria is a yeet for me. So
Ooh, okay.
yeah, when we get to that section, we could talk a little bit about it there.
Yeah.
And oh my goodness, that oof, heartstrings were cut and broken already, and we're just at number 10. I don't know what's going to
Look,
happen as
look.
we keep
I,
going.
I I'm
Yeah,
sure I'm sure we'll recover later down.
yeah.
But yeah, no, uh, that's just funny. No,
Okay.
okay, to be
Yeah.
clear, the
Yes.
only reason that it got moved was because we had the conversation about what is anime, and then I was like, oh wait, no, this counts. And then I moved
No,
to the big
no,
game.
really? Just
Literally, yeah. I was like, wait, no. If we're
who
having this
would
conversation,
have thought that a
I
Kiss
can do
Next
this.
Door tangent would have knocked out Wistoria? Okay.
I mean, when you hear what it is, you'll be like, yeah, okay.
It's like, that makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. So, okay. And with all right, with that we'll go on to my number 10, and I have a feeling that let me double check on Jay's list cuz I don't think it's here. Nope. It's not on his list, and I don't think it's going to be on your list either.
Okay.
So my number 10 is Mashal Muscles and Magic season 2.
Yeah, that is unfortunately a bench for me. Solely because I did not finish it.
You didn't
Um,
finish it.
I didn't
Oh
finish it.
man,
So
why?
I just like for the majority of these,
Mhm.
if I did not finish it, I could not include it. I made two exceptions only because I just got busy and didn't get to finish it,
Mhm.
knowing was I love these shows, knowing where they're gonna land regardless of how they end up because of everything that kind of came for it. But everything else I finished all the way through. I just did not finish Mashal. Um,
Mhm.
Nothing against it, just
No, no, like
I
you said,
I just didn't have
just
time.
time. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would say like with Mashal, it was the reason why like I put it on here, and like you can attest to this from what you've seen. But
Mhm.
I don't know. I guess like the way, I don't know. Hold on. I'm mixing my I'm mixing my anime now. But no, they had a tournament arc too.
Yeah.
Um because like the way they did their tournament arc was pretty well done, and because and like I would say they honed in a little bit more on the comedy. Like the comedy
Hmm.
from the last season, it was good, but for some reason this season it felt more refined, more poignant. And
Hmm.
even with some of the stakes were a little bit more serious. And
Were they a little medium rare or were they more like well done?
I don't know. I would say, oh my goodness,
Got
that
him.
was good. That was good. Got him. Oh man, but yeah, I would say, oh, it was probably a little bit more on the rare side because you got to see a little bit of blood, but not a whole
Hmm.
lot.
Okay.
And I don't know, like I said, it just did well, and it was fun. I would say, probably to quote a phrase from Jay, it was probably good comfort food. And
Okay.
in terms of, it's like whenever I wanted to relax or anything else like that and decompress, I would put on Mashal, and I didn't feel like I was rotting my brain. It was a good time. So
Okay.
yeah, it was good comfort food in the sense that you didn't know that your brain was dying ever so slowly. Well, no.
It's like
Yeah.
soul food, right? It's like
Yeah.
it's good for the soul, right? It may not necessarily be good
Yeah,
for your health, but it's good for the soul, and that's
pretty
what
much.
matters.
Yes,
Yeah.
exactly. So, that was our number tens. Oh my goodness. So I thought we were going to see Suna and the boys a little bit longer than that, but we'll have to let them go. And now we are on to number nine. Now,
Oh,
Alonzo.
I get it now. Sorry. I was like, why did we do the? Oh, okay, because he's a decimo. Got it. Okay. And now we got the nine. So, all right. Okay. I
Exactly.
see. I see
See?
you. I see you. Okay. All right.
I'm trying.
My number nine
Mm-hmm.
is I know with almost certainty this is
Mm-hmm.
not on either of y'all's lists. I maybe might be on Jay's,
Mm-hmm.
maybe, but that's if he finished it. My number nine is Blue Box.
Blue box.
Not to be
Oh.
confused with Blue Lock,
Yeah.
but yes, number nine, Blue Box.
Okay, hold on. I'm looking on Jay's real quick. I could have swore that. Oh no! Oddly enough, it's not on his list.
Yep, that's what I
And
figured.
for me, I would say nope. That's a bench for me.
Yeah,
Because yeah, I was thinking about it and like I don't know, cause like I have watched it. I am up to date, and as far as like romance stuff goes, like I don't know if I'm a good uh person to be like, yeah, this
look,
is a good romance stuff like that. Yeah.
we can tell the people of the world. I forced Sam to watch romance anime. Okay, I thoroughly believe with my whole heart that everyone needs to watch a romance anime at least once a season. Okay,
Yeah.
just because everyone needs that feel good gushiness, right? And I think Blue Lock is actually not even that gushy. I think it's just a
Mm-hmm.
really well done like story of two people literally getting to know each other and kind of liking each other. Um, with the backdrop of well, not even the backdrop because it's kind of the main like moving point of their goals in their respective sports, bringing them together, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there's something really nice about that. Along with the animation in this show is outstanding.
Oh yeah, no,
Sam and I get on
yes.
him. No, go for it. Go for it. Go for it. Go for it.
No, because it doesn't deserve it. It's like the animation is too
Yeah,
good.
yeah. See, okay. See, that's what I was gonna say. He says this, and I'm like, BS. Like, doesn't deserve it. My ass. Like, it like the show is as good as it is because of the
Mhm.
love and care that they've done for this. And to say it doesn't deserve to be this the animation to be this good, it's like get out of here.
No,
Like
I would
it,
say yeah.
it's well done and it deserves every ounce of blood, sweat, and tears that those animators did. Don't say it doesn't deserve this.
No, it is well done, right? But it's just like, so how it's just like just think about like all the hours that these poor animators poured into the scene just to have these people just stand and look at each other. And it's just I don't at
The
least
animation we're
yeah.
talking about is for like the sports scenes where they're playing basketball and badminton, and you're saying that their efforts were wasted because they
So
didn't deserve it.
no,
That's
no,
what
no,
you're
no, no,
saying.
no. We hardly ever see basketball. We see her train, but we never really see a match. And with the Batman, yeah, we have been seeing some matches, but most of the part, I guess, too, because of the what's the phrase? Like because most of the interactions take place during training, so like we just see them in the gym doing like goofing around and training and stuff like that. But the only real matches that we see are in Batman, which is cool. But like I would like to see a basketball match too. We haven't really gotten like a full game yet, but it's also what was it? It's also very dependent on the character that we're following. And with him, he's never really at the games like that. So I blame him because
It's not
we.
his fault.
It is his
He was
fault.
literally
We could be
he
seeing
was li-
great.
he
We
was
could be
lit.
seeing
No,
great
no.
basketball animation, but no,
He
he has
was
to go focus on
literally in a
badminton.
match himself. They were matches at the same time. How is he going to be in two places at once? You can't blame him for that. That's not his fault.
They could use
Like,
anime magic to make it happen.
uh, 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 yes, I agree with you there, but you can't blame him for that, right? Like, it's not his fault. They could have cut to a shot of her, but no. That again, you're blaming him. It's not his fault. He's just there playing Batman, trying to win. You know?
Trying to do the thing. But no, like
Yeah.
I would say like what you said, like how they focus on the focus on their goals and on the sports, and like that's a very good. And I would say too, like it's good that the characters, a lot of them themselves are introspective. Like they have like the thoughts where it's like, hey, I feel this sort of way. Where it gives us good insight, and like
Mm.
it's good, but I don't know, it's like how reflective that is of kids nowadays. Is like they'll feel feelings and not really sit and think why. I know I didn't. It's just like, I'm just in a pissy mood and I don't know why. It's like, well, it's because I missed my show, or some other shit, right, that happened in my day. But I would say like that's it's nice what Blue Box does so that we can take in their perspective. So, but yeah, no, that's pretty good. Are there any more thoughts that you have on Blue Box other than it's a good romance that people need to enjoy?
Um, I think it's
Yeah,
honestly a pretty good introductory romance show
introductory romance.
because
Yeah.
it doesn't really do a lot of the tropes that are in most romance anime. You know, the like
Oh, I don't know. I
oh,
don't know if
oh,
I agree with you there because
no, no, no,
yeah, go on.
let me clarify.
Yeah, go on.
There's one scene that is a general trope in most romance, but they put a spin to it, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like to where you're like, oh, that didn't go where I thought it was gonna go,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like if you're referring to like how he's like all up in his head, it's like, well, yeah, he's a teenager. Teenagers live in their heads, right? Like
Yeah.
this makes sense for this. When I'm referring to like tropes, I mean like, like, oh, we fell over and I accidentally grabbed your boob. Oh no, right?
Yeah.
Those are more the tropes that I mean. Like those are very far. Like actually, they don't exist except for one time where they use a trope, and even then, they put a spin on it, right?
Mm-hmm.
To where you're like, oh, that didn't go where I thought it was gonna go, right?
Yeah, but
And actually
mhm.
develops the plot. Like most of the time, those tropes are used solely for fan service
Yeah,
or
fan service.
like for gags. The trope was a plot point, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like something that they had to come back and talk about, right? Like they didn't just ignore it. They weren't just like, oh, that never happened. They they had a conversation about it, right? Like they address everything that happens because they like it's quote unquote real, right? It's like it feels like a normal relationship, not an anime one,
Yeah.
right?
No, I would say like why I would say like it's because of that, like they have more real moments. Would you consider it to be an introductory anime for romance? Because like you said, there's several tropes that they use, but not fully. Whereas other anime would use it just to satiate the etchiness or the hornier side of the viewers. Whereas with this one, like it takes a more realistic approach. So somebody goes in, this is an introductory romance, and now you have get them set up with the expectation of that's supposed to be more realistic, and then they start going in more watching more romance anime and realizing is like this is not what I expected. So
I see what you're
yeah,
saying.
so it's like, are you setting the bar too high, making this their introductory romance anime?
I see what you're saying. I
Mm-hmm.
think you're right. I think that it probably is not a good introductory anime for for the reason that you just said, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
it unfortunately does just set the bar way too high for what to expect from romance anime.
Mm-hmm.
When most of it is unfortunately like very tropey, which I don't mind because that's not the point. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but but no, you make a really good point. Like
Uh, mhm.
I would probably not recommend Blue Box as an instructor. Like, hey, watch this romance if you want to get into romance. Yeah, no, you're right.
Or it's like if you want to watch a good romance anime,
Hmm.
then it was like if you want good romance, not necessarily the standard, but like the would you say it's gold standard or is it like above standard? Above standard probably, right?
Above standard, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
Okay. All right. So, like I said, that's I can't believe we're just like having these little tangents on. Oh, I guess like that's part of the reason why we're doing the top 10 list so that we can sit and talk and ruminate on each anime and like why they belong on the list. It's again, and we're only on number 9. Damn. So, uh with Jay's number 9, and this is not something that's on my list, but let's see. Maybe it's something that's on yours or something that you heard of. It is known as Twilight Out of Focus.
That is the bench for me. Um, Jay
Hmm.
recommended it. I just did not have time to actually sit down and watch it.
Okay. And
Unfortunately.
he gave me a couple of notes here. He says that essentially it's an intimate look at cinephilia and the creative process. So probably the creative process and what it means to make films. And he also says that one downside to it is that there are too many romantic pairings to get invested in. So I can see
Oh,
why he would suggest this to you. But
yeah.
from what you've seen, or have you seen any trailers for it or anything else like that?
Yeah,
Or
so
yeah.
I watched the trailer for the show when he recommended it, and I was like, oh,
Hmm.
this actually looks pretty good. And read the synopsis just because I do like understanding how things get made, and I
Hmm.
think looking at the the process of like filmmaking from like a filmmaker's like viewpoint is
Hmm.
interesting. Um, and then he was like, "It's a romance." I was like, "All right, cool. I'm down. I will give it a shot." Like you can like unless it's straight up just heavily etchy. If you're like, "This is a pretty good romance," I'll check it out. Um,
Okay.
given time.
Yeah. And usually, whenever an anime deals with shop talk about, like you said, like how things are made, and Jay suggests it, it usually does hold water.
Yeah.
So it'll be something interesting to look at because it'll be interesting to see like how deep they go into it. Whether it's just well, he mentions the creative process, so I don't know if it's like from a directing standpoint or if it's just storyboarding, but it
Hmm.
would definitely be pretty cool to look at. Now let's see. Now my number 9, it is not that bit of a jump that we had from Jay's number 10, but it is Wisteria Wand and Sword.
Okay.
So yeah, we can talk a little bit about it more here. With Jay's on his list, he says that he likes it a lot better than Black Clover. It was more palpable for him. The only cons, or the con that he has here, is the heavy handedness on the theme of elitism. And he's not wrong.
Okay.
It was like in the anime, it's very elitist, similar to Black Clover, where essentially the well, I
Your
would
magic
say
level determines your rank, or like your status in life, kind of, right?
pretty much, and I would say that probably the reason why we see the elitism. Well, no, we should see it a little bit more in Black Clover too, because essentially both main characters aren't supposed to have any forms of magic. Um, but we do see it a lot more in Worstoria. But I guess mainly
Oh,
because like with Black
um,
Clover, he's part of a gang that's known to be the outcasts, the sheep, the black sheep of
mhm,
the magic world. So he, you do see that camaraderie in Black Clover. Whereas in Wisteria, the main character, he's going to a school where he has maybe two people there that support him, at least in the beginning.
yeah.
And oh no, I'm sorry. three. No, no,
N-
still technically
No,
two.
it's two. It's two. It's two.
Oh no, no,
Um.
because I was thinking about
Well, I
yeah,
was just gonna say,
yeah.
the other person you're talking about technically isn't there because he doesn't know that that person's supporting him, right? She's
Mm-hmm.
like cheering him on from her literal high tower, right? Um, so I wouldn't count her. So I would say
Okay, yeah,
he still has two, right?
yes, okay.
Um, but for those of you who maybe not heard of the show before,
Mm-hmm.
the whole premise is there is a barrier protecting like this world from the darkness, I guess, I think is what they're implying, right? And
Yeah,
their goal
yeah.
of this school is to train powerful mages to be able to maintain that thing, right? And our main character has no magical aptitude whatsoever, much like the kid in Black Clover. And so his answer to that is to
Get all
be
the
the best
gains.
get so ripped and be powerful in the way of sword, right? And then he teams up with his friend who uses a wand, a la wand and sword. Boom. Welcome to the show.
Oh my goodness, that's a music lyric from some song earlier. I'm gonna have to look it up now. Thanks for that, Alonso. But
You're
yeah,
welcome.
yeah. I would say like it. Now that I think about it, I'm looking back at my list. Like it's still like in that same vein because like with my number 10, like you have that character that has to work to overcome and to make it in the world. And I would say like the action sequences were good. I would say like a little bit like with what Jay was saying, like they do a lot of heavy-handed stuff as well, like a lot of the elitists is I want to say no, because even the ice dude, he just needed a punch in the face.
Yes.
And it was like
He was a brat.
it was like his whole personality changed after that.
Mm-hmm.
But I would say it's good in the sense that like the characters that he runs into, the characters that he's changed or is changing, it's it feels like it's earned almost. And I would say it could be a weak point of the show, or it's probably just them trying to build up the mystique. Is very much like what you said, Alonzo, is the outside world because we don't really know what's out there. And again, like they're just making these mages so they can go up this tower and be human batteries to protect everybody who lives underneath it. But as the show goes on, like it seems like there's a lot more to things than there is to be led on. Like there's other races, dwarves, and I think uh
Elves.
yeah, dwarves, elves. I'm trying to think of like the short guy. Was he a halfling? Uh
Halflings, yeah.
yeah, at the end, yeah. And and even then like there's elitism in each races and things like that, but you do see that there are some crossovers in like some people who
Well,
are considered lowborn, like they're in a higher ranked position than say like somebody who's a mage or what or an elf or something like that.
yeah, but it does
Yeah.
seem entirely correlated to how much magic aptitude they have, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because the dwarf's magic is very simple, so they're quote unquote bottom of the ladder
Yeah.
to like the society that they're in, right?
Well,
Because
I'm sorry,
it
yeah.
does seem extremely utilitarian in that you are as valued as you are useful to the the purpose of
Mm-hmm.
maintaining the barrier, right? So like the more powerful you are, the better battery you will be, right? I mean, they
Yeah.
don't phrase it that way, but that's what it seems to be like. It's implying that it happens is that you just end up powering keeping the barrier up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so I think it's not so much a racial thing; it's just a aptitude of magic that manifests itself as racial, if that makes sense. Because
True.
because the elves are seen as like the highest, but that's because their magical aptitude is higher than the average
Yeah.
humans. So like they have qualities that they attribute to being elves or
Hmm.
like to their race, which is not fair. But that is what they are doing. Um,
No, no. I guess the reason why I brought that up was I was mainly thinking of the halfling because when the halfling was introduced, I don't remember them mentioning the amount of magic that he had, but the way that he interacted with some of the people at the school, he had apparently like they made it seem like his words had weight and meaning.
oh
So
yeah.
again, like, and because of what the halfling talked about, and yeah, because of what the halfling talked about, I'm doing my best to not spoil anything here, but
So like, well, I mean,
yeah.
so basically, what happened is
Hmm.
that um they are setting up season two,
Yeah.
right? They are
Yeah.
building the mysteries. They are saying, hey, this is not as simple as you think it is. It's not as straightforward. Also, here is a plot reveal as to some, something, because I don't want to spoil. Um, as to
Yeah.
something, come back because we'll explain it. Is the promise that they are making,
Pretty
right?
much. It's like, hey, here's this mystery box. If you come back, we'll show you what's inside.
Well, it's not even that. It's like they're
Yeah.
hinting at what's inside, right?
Hmm.
They're like, "Hey, do you know this thing? The answer is in here, right? You don't know what the answer is, but you know you have a rough idea of what is in here, right? It's
Hmm.
not just like, oh, what could it be? You're like, oh, I know what it is. I just want to know what it is, right? And they're like,
Yeah.
I'll tell you next season. And it's like, dang it, but fine.
It's like, of course. Sure.
Yeah.
Oh man, but yeah, no, that's so I would say definitely is worth a watch. And yeah, let's move on.
Hmm.
So what's your number eight? Oh, hold on. We have
Yeah,
to
no, I'm
we ha-
holding. I'm holding.
we have to change. We have to change. My bad. Thanks for being here for our long talks, Kyube, Kurama. Now, oh no, we need you there. My bad. Didn't mean to take you off.
I was deleted.
No, you came back. Boom.
Lol.
So now,
Okay. All right.
mhm,
So I mentioned before that there were two shows on this list that I had not finished, but just because of time constraints, not because I didn't want to watch them. I
yeah,
loved both of these shows. My number nine is
no, eight because number nine was blue box for you.
my number eight. I'm sorry. My number eight is. Wait,
Dramatic
did that not come
pause.
through?
No, it didn't
Dang
come
it! It
through.
didn't come through. Okay, sorry. I started playing the Dan to Dan opening. Okay, um, because it literally goes Dan to Dan Dan to Dan Dan to Dan Dan to
Oh
Dan,
my
right?
goodness, yes.
Um, I was trying to play it through and my mic did not pick it up. My bad. Um, but yeah, no, my number
Hmm.
eight is Dan to Dan.
Dan.
The
Okay.
only reason that I put Dan to Dan and Blue Box as low as I did is because I just haven't finished them yet. I know
Oh
like
yeah.
they are in my top 10, but
Hmm.
I couldn't justify putting them, super high up without having actually finished them. That's just my own thing. Otherwise, like I assume that Danon would be in my top three, for this year if it weren't for me not finishing it yet.
Okay.
Yeah.
So with Dan, it's a yeet on Jamil's list and it's a yeet on mine. So we'll definitely be able to come back and circle back and talk about Dan and all of its
Gloriousness. Yeah.
all of its glory, all of its glory. Now, for number 8 on Jay's list, and this is a bench for me. You have to let us know if this is a bench for you, Alonzo. But
Hmm.
it's Dan Machi season 4, and this is for Jay.
That's a bench. I'm surprised. Interesting. It is a bench for me. I didn't
Yes.
realize that he enjoyed that show.
Same here. With what he says there was unexpected character depth and development that happened this season,
Okay.
and the only cons to it was pretty much stiff dialogue between specific characters. Now,
Okay.
I had been following Dan Machi, but I had sort of fell out of it because after a point it seemed like it was more work than what was necessary, but like they still kept getting
Mm.
seasons, so it seems like it's still going pretty strong. And if Jay is saying that it's worth mentioning, then I should probably hop back in. But Alonzo, have you been keeping up with Dan Machi at all?
Nope. I stopped after 2 episodes, maybe
Oh
three.
my goodness, why?
I it just felt like I enjoy fan service every once
Mm,
in a while, right? What at a certain point, it's just gratuitous, it's unnecessary, and it takes me out of the show. So like we're showing Fire Force right now.
yeah.
I didn't finish that either. For the same reason. I was just like,
Ah, no.
this is so excessive. Like I cannot sit here and enjoy the story because we break apart to show ass and titties left and right. Which again,
But hopes
I
and
do not
dreams,
mind.
Alonzo.
I do not I do not mind hopes and dreams every
Mm-hmm.
once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
right? When it's done tastefully, but when it's done like every like 10 minutes, it's like no. Like what are we doing, guys? Like we're telling a story here. Like if I want edgy, just go watch hentai, right? Like
Yeah. There's like
no.
yeah. I would say like definitely like the I'm trying to think like what made me kept going. I guess a little bit of the interactions between the main character and or at least seeing the sort of family and I say family because of the words within the show. So for those who aren't familiar with Danmachi, essentially it's the long title is it wrong to pick up girls in a dungeon? So a
The
little
answer is
bit.
yes. I think the whole show is wrong. That's my
you,
answer.
you you think the whole show is
Hot
wrong?
take. Well,
Hot take.
yes, right?
Okay, okay,
Yep,
yes,
hot
yes,
take.
yes. So but oddly enough, it's a bit funny because Danmachi it takes a little bit of a cue from what you had mentioned in Blue Box because essentially the main character that we follow, so he lives in a world where you have to go in dungeon to well, you don't have to go in dungeon, but he's an adventurer who goes to the dungeon and he comes back with jewels that he gets from monsters and stuff like that to get money, and each guild is held up by a deity. And in the beginning, he starts out with the smallest uh, guild, which is known as a family in this world. And because it's just him and his deity, and he goes into the dungeon, and he has the hots for this top-notch adventurer, and very much like with what they do in Blue Box, he doesn't feel like it's right for him to try to go after this character romantically if he's not on the same or similar par as she is. So that's a big driving factor for him to get better so that he can feel like he is on the same or better than her so that they can at least converse. And I would say with that um innocent outlook with that main
Mhm.
character, it makes him more endearing. Whereas, yeah, there's a lot of sexy scenes and stuff like that, but because he's not a pervert, it sort of takes that edge off those scenes just a little bit. As you said, sometimes it can be gratuitous,
That's fair.
but because of the character and his main drives, it's not going full tilt in that direction.
So
And yeah,
you're saying that it's like because he's not like indulging in it, it's just kind of something that happens around him. It like kind of doesn't make it feel as bad. It doesn't make it feel like if you like Seven Deadly Sins, I'm sorry. It's not
yes.
like Meliodas being just a straight up pervert
Oh,
perpetually throughout the
oh,
show,
yes,
right?
yes, yes,
Okay.
exactly. because like one
Okay.
one of the main plot points, well, not plot points, but one of the main things is like the deity is romantically in love with him, and
Oh.
like that's why like in the beginning we see them sleeping in the same bed, and she uses the excuses like, oh, because it's because we're family. And
Hmm.
even though like the deities in that world, they have to have an intimate relationship with everybody in their family, it's not that serious. You don't have to sleep in the same bed, especially if it's just you two and the whole family, right? She can have her own
Hmm.
room, but because she likes him romantically, that she pushes it. So to your point, right?
Hmm.
She'll try to dress cute, sexy, try to do little things for him, but because he's focused on bettering himself, he doesn't view it like that. She's like, "Oh, that's just her being quirky," and sort of discounts it. But it
Yeah.
can be annoying, but I would say because of his views and his outlook, like it does propagate, like it does allow for things to go in a different way. For instance, there was a season where they have to help a demi-human, which is somebody who is sort of like a human animal hybrid who is in a red light district and has a contract, and he has a friend that has an emotional connection to her, and they have to work out a way to get her to sort of like buy up her contract so that she can leave the red light district.
Okay.
And yeah, like it's very much like what Jay had said. Like it has like some very surprising moments where it's like, holy shit, you can actually be deep with this, stuff like that. But
Yeah.
um that's a lot on Don Don Machi, and a little bit of that. So definitely we have been chilling in the fantasy stuff a long time. So now it will be for my number 8, and I know it's not on Jay's list. I don't think it's going to be on yours list, Jay. I'm sorry, Alonzo. But
Hmm.
my number 8 is Netflix's Gundam Requiem for Vengeance.
Yeah, that is a bench for me.
All right, so we're finally breaking free of the fantasy. um,
Boo!
boo.
Boo! We love fantasy around here.
I know, right? But
We
no,
also like mecha, but that I could not bring myself to even start that show.
why?
I
Why do you say that?
I hovered over it and it started playing some of the show, and I could not watch it. The animation uh just did not feel right to me.
I would
So that's
say
just the me thing.
no, no, no. Because there are times when it has some uncanny valley, and what Alonzo
Mm.
means is like with this particular iteration of Gundam, is they did CGI, and like what you said, sometimes when they have the human characters on screen, it's a little bit of an uncanny valley feeling where it's like they go for hyper realism a little bit too much, and it's off-putting. But when the realism is balanced out, especially with the mechas, when the mechas are on the scene and it's just mainly those, it's very well done. And essentially we are following the story from the Xeon forces on Earth. They have invaded Earth, and this it's around, if you are a big Gundam fan, I want to say, and Ellis may kill me for this if I'm butchering up the timeline, but I would say probably around it's a Universal Century. I want to say it's around the time of 8th Mobile Suit Company, but essentially it's the time when the forces from space, they had invaded Earth, and they're trying to take over some of the bigger cities, and at this time we are from the perspective of the Xeon forces when they introduce the Gundam mobile suit. We've always seen the Gundam mobile suit being introduced from the others, from the Federation side, the people who are using the Gundam, but this is like the first time, or at least to my recollection, that we are seeing the Gundam mobile suit being introduced from the quote unquote baddie side. And I would say one thing that the show does very, very well is it shows the drastic change because a lot of these mobile suit pilots are kids, who are in the Gundams, and but you when you see the team that you follow is like you get a sense for their camaraderie and you know that they're all adults. And then when it's revealed that the Gundam pilot is a kid, is you see that there is a physical and drastic difference. And so when you have characters say it's like, holy shit, there's a kid in that suit, it hits a little bit harder. I would say because in most other works, whenever you have that reveal, I don't know, like for me, it doesn't really hit as hard because I guess sometimes like with the art style, even if they try to make the age disparity present, it's just still very hard to see because you have this one character that's supposed to be like 40 something, but he looks like he's 20 something. And he's like,
Yeah.
oh no, there's this kid, he's from high school. And then you have the kid from high school, and the kid from high school looks like he should be shotgunning beers and working his 9 to 5, right?
Right.
So it's
Yeah.
just like, okay, you say it's a kid, but is he really though? That sort of thing.
Yeah.
But and I would say like they do a good job in making you sympathetic for the characters with their backstories because a lot of them are drafted and they talk about like the work that they've done before they were drafted for the war. And
Mhm.
it was just very interesting. I would say the only reason why I have it so low is because the ending itself is a little bit bittersweet for me. Like it builds up and it sort of just falls flat, just a little bit. But it's like okay, it had to end this way because of what happened, and even though like it's like my head I can accept it, but in my heart it's like no, I don't want to accept it. That sort of thing. So that's a little bit why
Yeah.
like it's as low on the list as it is for me.
Okay.
So, yeah, that was our number 8. So let's go ahead and let's unsuit from the Fire Force. Boop. And let's go on to number 7.
Woo.
So, Alonzo,
Yeah, Digimon. Yeah, Digimon. Yeah, sorry, my bad.
go on.
Number 7. My number 7.
Mm,
I hope slash think that it is on Jay's.
yeah.
Um, so I think we kind of agreed on how good slash much we like this show.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it's on yours. If it's on yours, I'll be happily surprised, but I doubt it.
Okay.
Um, my number 7 is Dangers in My Heart, season 2.
Oh, hold on. Season 2. Okay, so that is the bench for me.
Yeah.
And let me see. I am looking. I am looking. And that's a bench for Jay as well. Now I know like we watched it
Dang,
together and
dang. Oh, my heart. There's dangers. Ugh, in my heart.
Danger's
No.
in the heart. Oh. So I would say okay, so go ahead and give us a reason why this romance is on your list and why it's higher than sorry. Go on.
No, no, no. It's I
Mhm.
wasn't. I was just exasperated that y'all didn't even put it in your top 10. Um, I do not think that Dangerous is better than Blue Box. Like I
Mhm.
said, it is just higher because I haven't had time to finish Blue Box yet.
Yeah.
I actually think Blue Box is just a better romance anime in general.
Mhm.
Um, but Dangers is barfably cute. Okay, it is just
Barbarably
adorable.
cute.
Yes, it is. It is like
Makes you
it's
vomit
the
rainbows.
Yeah, literally, right? It is like the asteroid yelling, "It's so fluffy, I'm gonna die. It's so cute, I'm gonna die." Right?
Mm-hmm.
It is just adorable, cute, like kids like figuring out like, oh wait, what does it mean to like someone? All this stuff, and it's the tall queen with short king trope. Like it's just not done very often, and
Yeah.
it works, right? It works really
Mm-hmm.
great. Um, and I don't know. It's just fluffy goodness. Had a great resolution. I don't think we're getting a season three.
Oh.
Um, but I think season two ended it well enough to where if they did a season three, it works. If they don't do a season three, it's still the ending still works. Um, and I think the fact that they did that because they don't know one way or the other,
Yeah.
um, like it is a good point to it. There were other like romance anime that I watched this year, but they just don't, in my head, just don't hold a candle to Dangers and Blue Box, um, because the relationships like within the context of like these kids are in high school, I believe, maybe middle school. Like it's not meant to be like like a grown up romance where like, oh, I want to kiss you. Like they are getting nervous about holding hands. Like
Yeah.
they're like and it's cute because you're like, oh shit, you're just like figuring out like having a relationship with a adult person that you like. Like that's cute.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's great. Um, I highly recommend anyone watch it. It is just ugh ugh the cuteness.
The cuteness.
And yeah.
So would you say that this would work as a good introductory romance or no? From what we talked about earlier.
Hmm. Probably not, because again, they don't really do a lot of the tropes. Um, there is a lot more fan service in this, but not like
Mm-hmm.
significantly so. Um, like it's not obnoxious. Um, and the most of the tropes that they play on are just like the misunderstanding tropes.
Yeah.
And even then, it's used for a good reason generally. Um, they do a good job of like, well, this misunderstanding, it makes sense for them to have it because they are, kids, not because they're adults who just don't communicate. They're kids
Mm-hmm.
who don't know how to communicate, right?
Yeah.
So it makes sense for them to have that misunderstanding. Um, so I don't know if it would still be good. Like like I would say a good introductory romance
Mm-hmm.
would be something that's on like my honorable mentions. Uh,
Okay.
would be Alya sometimes hides her feelings in Russian, right? That show is much more like tropey, much more like fan servicey, but it still has like elements of romance that are like, oh, this is still cute. Also the premise is just great of like,
Mm-hmm.
hey, she's telling him that she likes him, but in a language he can't understand. But twist, he can, because he had a childhood friend who spoke Russian and he wanted to like, and he liked her, so he learned Russian. Therefore, but he never told anyone. And it's more complicated than that. But like that's the premise, right? So it's him pretending not to know that she says all these things, and him just being like, yeah, but I don't know if I do like you because you're like this ice queen, and you're only nice to me in Russian, so I don't know what that means. And it's like
Mm.
them figuring out like their whole relationship and how they work together and whatnot.
It sounds
Um,
like that should be. Well, no, no, no. You're just saying that that should be a good introductory. I was about to say it's like
yeah,
as much as you're gushing over it, it's like that should be your number seven. But that's not the case. Like you said, seems like you like Dangers because of cuteness for the sake of being cute,
yeah,
right?
yeah. Whereas like Alia is much more like, it's not as like, actually I would rate it
Mm-hmm.
in, when I say good romance is usually just pretty wholesome. There's a lot less etchiness.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas like on the other end of romance is freaking High School DxD, right? It
Yeah.
is basically a hentai without the sex, right? Like that's the opposite end, and I would not recommend someone to start there. I would recommend somewhere in the middle, which I would say is like Alia, right? Where there's a bit more fan service than like
Hmm.
what I would like, but it's fine. Um, and there's a little bit more tropiness, but again, fine. Um,
But yeah, it's like
but
enough to see a little bit of the tropes. It's like, okay, this is what's going to happen. This is what
yeah,
you should expect. Nothing, like I said, it's just they're at the standard for any romance anime that you're going to run into.
exactly, yeah.
Okay, so on to Jay's number 7. It was a yeet from earlier that we're probably going to have to push a little bit further down, but
Hmm.
it's Windbreaker. Windbreaker was his number 7. And so,
And it and
yeah.
you yeeted it too, right?
Yes, I eated it
Okay,
too. So
all right.
it's going. We're gonna have to wait till we get to mine to really delve into Windbreaker there.
Yeah, sounds
A-
good.
And for my number 7, it's going to be a bench on Jay's list. We'll see if it's a bench on yours. It'll be interesting if it isn't, because it is dipping back into the fantasy realm. It
Hmm.
is Wrong Way to Do Healing.
Ooh, that is a bench for me. Okay, our lists are very different. Yeah, that is a bench for me. Um,
Mhm.
because
So,
I
yeah.
did not finish it.
You didn't finish it?
I did not finish it.
Okay.
I think I'm like now I'm 70% sure I didn't finish it.
You're like, wait a minute, did I? I thought I. No, no, I didn't. You're just back and forth with yourself.
Yeah, okay. So
Yeah.
technically I just did not watch the last episode.
Oh, okay.
Okay, I just went back onto my Crunchyroll and yeah, I watched everything but the last
But the
episode.
last episode, you just have that one last episode.
Yeah, so here's the
Hmm.
thing. Because well, I just want to say why it didn't end up wouldn't have ended up on my list anyways.
Yeah.
Um, because I do think it's a good show.
Hmm.
There was just a pacing issue for me between episodes 8 and 9. I became entirely disinterested to the point where I skipped episode 9. Because I did not care about what they were telling me.
Yeah.
Um, and so I even if I did finish it, I would not have put it on my list.
Hmm.
But please sing it praises because I think I would agree with most of it.
Okay. Because so for those who aren't familiar with it, essentially it's an isekai anime, and where you have these 3 students, they are summoned to another world where they need help to fight against a demon king that's coming in onto their kingdom, and the heroes that are the 3 students that are summoned, essentially one was an extra. He wasn't supposed to be there, and that's the one that we follow. The other two, they and it turns out that when you get to this new world, like if you're summoned there as a hero, you have some magical aptitude. So they learn the different magics that are there, and the extra that's summoned, he has a magical aptitude that's very, very rare that nobody there has. And he has the ability to heal. They have very few healers. And as a result, they have a very niche healing department, if you can call it that, where,
It is. It
yes,
is a healing department.
very very niche, and because of the because of how rare they are, like there's only so many people that can head that department, and because of that department head
Well,
is
okay.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
The reason that only this person can head this department is because of the way that she runs this department, right?
yes,
Like you're probably thinking, oh, healer, their support, they're there to like like be on the
mm-hmm,
back lines and help each other, like help the wounded, and that's
mm-hmm,
that's their goal, right?
Oh, they do help the wounded, and they're not
They do
necessarily on the
that.
front lines. Yeah,
Uh,
not
except
necessarily.
except for the commander, who is actually the top like commander for the entire army, is also the
Yes,
head of this department
yes,
because of how she uses healing,
yes.
right? She uses
Mm-hmm.
healing to buff herself, right? She
Mm-hmm.
heals her wounds, makes them stronger, trains harder because it's the whole idea of when you're training and you're exercising,
Yes.
your muscles kind of break a little and then over time they heal, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what did she do? She's like, you know what? I can heal myself.
Just
So she
constantly
just
buff.
constantly ripping apart her muscles,
Mm-hmm.
healing them up over and over, massively increasing her strength and in training this little dude bro doing the same for him, right?
Yes.
um it
And
is it is go for it, sorry.
no, because it's a very novel way on how to use healing. Basically, making not necessarily a tank, because a lot of no yeah, essentially making the tank a healer, and he just knows how to throw hands, and
Well,
yeah,
it's taking your cleric and making him a battle mage, right?
yeah.
It's like, oh, I can be up here fighting because I will heal any damage I take, right?
Oh, it sort of reminds me. It reminds me of the old man from Fearin', where it's like, I may be out of mana, but I'm not out of options.
um
That sort of thing. Yeah.
Actually, like a kind of a pretty
Yeah.
good, I hate to give it credit, but a good way of like thinking about it is if you've watched Sword Art Online, there's a very famous scene where Kirito's like, I heal faster than you can deal damage to me. And that's kind of the same idea for this show, right? Is that
Mm.
like I will not go down because you cannot kill me because I will heal. It is kind of the idea. And then
Oh
turning that
yeah.
into an offensive like gain.
Yeah. And like I said, like it's novel and it's very tactical, because as you said, like if you and the way that they explain the magic here too, it's very much how in My Hero Academia they explain quirks, where it's like the more you use it, it's like a muscle. It's like you start to make it stronger, you become more efficient with it, and because you're always healing yourself, it's almost on autopilot, right? So
Mm.
very much like what you said, it's like with Kirito, he just stands there and heals. Like if you're out there on the field, you're and that's one thing that they make clear too, is that you're there to go and to be support, and you go, you get the people who are hurt and you run back. And so like it's always not you have that passive buff that you've essentially ingrained into your system, and you
Mm.
help heal others. And but the thing is though, and that's also what makes him even more rare, is that the way that she uses healing, even among the people who can use healing magic, she is an anomaly. The only people who can, she's like the only person who can do what she does. All the other healers are your standard healers, where they're like glass cannons. Like they can't, like they can heal others, but they're very, very frail. And with this newbie, he happens to be that other anomaly. So she
Well,
essentially throws herself into training him, because she sees that he can be like her, and she knows that they need to have somebody else like her on the battlefield, because they have people out there that go and they bring back others, but a lot of people in their division can't use healing. It's just her and two others, and
well,
they're yeah.
I thought it was
Mm-hmm.
also the fact that um he had the willpower to go through the training, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
she attempted to train the other two. And it wasn't because it wasn't a matter of like their well for the girl it was her ability.
Yeah.
Her healing magic was not strong enough.
Yeah, she
And
didn't have
then
that aptitude. Yeah. The
and then the
brother.
other dude,
Yeah.
he had the will, but his body is weak, like
Mm-hmm.
to the point where he can't even begin training. Um, I think he also has a sickness that he can't actually heal with his healing magic or something. I do not
Yeah.
remember
There,
entirely.
there were specific stuff that you mentioned, where because you was it they run into there was something that no, because like there was a cursed weapon that she had fought against where she can't use her eye anymore, because she was cut with it. So like you said, like there are certain curses and certain things that can circumvent the healing magic, and sort of explain why the other guy can't do what she does. But you know, it's just a testament to like how few and far between healing is, and what she's able to do. And not only that, but a big thing for me, and I've mentioned this with isekai before. I don't want to sound like a broken record, but usually with isekais, one issue that I have is that you don't have an idea on who this person was before they got isekai'd. So for me, there's no frame of reference for growth. Whereas with the people that we've seen, they know each other from the world that they left. And so we get to have that interaction with them, and sort of misconceptions that they had about each other, because there were some different hierarchical structures that everybody was that the three were in prior to coming to this new world. And
Uh, Sorry, to be
yeah,
clear,
yeah,
they were in high school.
yeah,
Two of them were on the student council, and he wasn't. He felt as though he was lower because they were chosen to lead the school, and he
yes.
was a nobody. Is his perception of things, and come to find out,
Mhm.
that's because this happens on the very first episode. They don't see him that way. They're like, oh no, you're a friend, or I mean, at minimum,
Or
you're
a
like
classmate, yeah.
you're a classmate, and we treat
Mhm.
you as a person, right?
Yeah,
We don't see you as lower.
yeah.
Um,
And I would say too, because like in the first episode, like his thoughts were sort of quote unquote reinforced, because he was the extra. He wasn't supposed to be summoned along with the other two. But then you go on in the show, and it seems like it was very fortuitous that he was, and he proves to him not he mainly proves to himself how useful he can be. And we get to see people adjust to uh change of environment in a healthy-ish way, I guess.
yeah.
And I would also say too, like it was just like it does a lot of good stuff right, that I think that I wish a lot of isekais would do. And how they use healing and the different tactics that they implement in the show, it's very novel. I like it, and I'm just afraid that it's going to go into obscurity because of all the other good shows that happened this year. So that's sort of why it's there at my number 7. And
Um,
yeah.
I will say, and unfortunately,
Hmm.
because of a different healing show, it probably will unfortunately go into obscurity because it didn't. It went. The other show was so
Yeah.
evil,
Hmm.
right? That it kind of overshadows everything, like any other idea of healing.
Yeah.
The show I'm talking about is Redo of a Healer, where the
Yeah.
healer also, you know, heals in the wrong way, but in a very evil way,
For
right?
nefarious reasons. Well,
Yeah,
not
and it's nor
necessarily
there.
nefarious, but it's just very very dark. And
Yeah,
yeah.
but I think its notoriety is going to be the reason that maybe the show gets overlooked a lot.
Hmm.
I do highly recommend it. It is still just a phenomenal watch. It's very funny. It's very clever.
Oh yeah.
Again, my only issue was my own like personal like I just did not care for the pacing. I
Hmm.
don't think the pacing was necessarily bad. I just I I I did not care what they were telling me at a certain point. But that's not to say that the story was bad, because I didn't even realize that like her eye was cursed. Because I was like, yes, we're telling the story of how she became who she is. Cool.
Hmm.
I don't care about that because I personally don't need to know like
Hmm.
that kind of stuff. I'm be like, you can just be like, yeah, it's been hard, and I'm like, I'm sure it has, and then move on to the story we're telling, because I will believe you. You like you're telling me it was
Yeah.
bad. I believe you, right?
Like,
Like
yeah,
it would
shit's
be
bad, my guy. I don't want to I don't want to revel in this.
yeah, like well,
Yeah.
it's like well, you've like we've shown the world, we've seen like the outcomes.
Hmm.
I can formulate my own ideas of like, well, what happened, right?
Hmm.
It's what happened ends up, in my opinion, not being that interesting. Um, I could be wrong because I skipped it. Like, but the idea of what they're presenting wasn't tantalizing enough. As a like kind of similar thing of kind of what I'm talking about.
Hmm.
I'm reading through Throne of Glass, right? It's a book series by Sarah J. Maas,
Yeah.
uh, following an assassin, right? Like that's the whole premise of
Hmm.
the book series. Um, and one of the third book to come out is technically a prequel, right? Um, Actually, not even technically. It is a prequel, so it like chronologically happens before the first book, but it's the third one to come out. And my friend was like, "Well, you should read it first." And I was like, I'll just read it in release order because like that's how everyone else would have experienced it, right?"
You're gonna yeah. It's like the age old question with Star Wars is like, do you watch the original trilogy? Do you watch the prequels first?
Hmm.
And like I said, it depends on what you want out of the story. But I don't know
Yeah,
how this series goes, so it depends on has yeah. So it depends on what you want to go for.
I think when it informs the characters, I think it's worth doing, right?
Hmm.
Um, but I've been I've been doing the audiobook. I've been listening to it. I'm like, we're rehashing kind of what we've been shown already, right? Like I am not really getting anything deeper to this. I'm just getting it flushed out, flushed out, yeah.
Yeah, fleshed out.
Um, um, flushed, yeah. Um, because we're learning about her relationship with this person, and I'm like, yes, but like you already told me what it means, and it's not really relevant to what's currently happening because she's moved on, right? Like this is a past relationship. We don't really need to know about it.
Hmm.
We've heard like the hard time she's gone through, all this stuff. That to me, it kind of feels like these kinds of things feel like, oh, I need time to like develop my story more in the background. So let me tell you this fluff piece, right? It's kind of what it feels like to me.
Yeah.
Um, because it's like, yes, it fleshes out what happened, but it doesn't flesh out the character, right? Like like with in Wrong Way to Heal, it doesn't really flesh out who the captain is because we see what she does on the battlefield. Like she's still the same person, nothing's changed about her. She's We're just shown as to the reason why she's so adamant about killing the demons, right?
Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. No, I see. Yeah. It.
But
Yeah.
it's already understandable because they're trying to kill you, right? If you show us like, oh, I had this group of this group of people who I lost, it's like, well, you could have just told us that, right? I
Hmm.
think anyone can be like, well, I lost my friends, therefore I'm vengeful. It's like, cool. I get that. I understand that. I don't need to be shown it. I just believe you, right? Um, and maybe it's just like my own thing of like I will generally believe someone when they tell me they don't have to show me the thing,
Yeah.
unless it's like outlandish, right? If you're like if someone's like, "Oh, this broke me," and I'm like, "Well, I don't wait, why would that break you?" And then you show me how it can break you, then I'm like, "Okay, this makes sense for me to see." But if it's something that's kind of understandable as to why someone would feel a certain way, I don't see a purpose in showing it when we can kind of empathize with it already, right? And that's kind of why like I skipped those two episodes, and I was like, eh.
Oh my goodness. Just you don't care about emotional ties or anything else like that. It's like
No, I
no,
do. But the
I
thing
got
is,
you. I got
like,
you. I
I
got you.
believe
Yeah,
you.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
I
Like
don't
you
need you
said,
to show
it
me.
yeah, feels like it's just being rehashed. So
Yeah.
that's our number sevens. And now we'll be going to our number sixes and point to you if you can recognize this character.
This is from Hunter x Hunter, right?
Yes. It
I don't know who
is
they are,
that's
but
Shalnark Ryusei from the Phantom Troop. He's the number six leg from the Phantom Troop.
okay. I have never seen this far into Hunter x Hunter. But I recognize the art style.
So, Lonzo, what is your
Yeah.
number 6?
Okay. I think this is in y'all's top 10. I think.
Mm-hmm.
My number 6 is a number 8. Kaiju number 8, to be exact.
Oh my god. Oh my gosh. Oh man. So with Jay, that was an honorable mention for him. So that's a bench
Okay.
for Jay. And for me, that is a yeet. So
Ooh, okay.
we're gonna have to talk about Kaiju number 8 a little bit later. Hold on.
It's your
Let me
number
go.
5, isn't
Hold on. Just give me a second.
it?
Give me a second. Come on, pages. There you are. All right. So, again, we're on number 6. And number 6 for Jay is Dandadan. And it's still a yeet for me. So,
Okay.
we're going to have to come back to Dandadan on that one.
Okay.
And for me, my number 6, it's not on Jay's list, and I doubt it'll be on yours. But my number 6 is Beastars Season 3.
Interesting. Yeah, I have not watched any B stars whatsoever. So that is a bench for me as well.
Oof. So, I will say it's the reason why.
Look,
What?
I'm just gonna say this.
Go ahead.
We are not beating the furry allegations. Especially you. Um Jay has been
Bro.
like he has been
Yeah. You
like
just have to call us
accusing
out
us
like
of
that.
being furries because we play ZZZ. And I'm like, I understand why you would say that. It is just not true. Get that ZZZ is like, as Jay put it, a good segue into the furry community because of like how many animalistic
This is
characters there are. But
the
like,
gateway drug.
I feel as though he's projecting. Okay. Uh, but he didn't put B stars on his top 10. I haven't watched it, and then you put it on your top 10. I don't think you're beating the allegations, man.
Well, I mean,
Nothing wrong with
my
it.
my, my,
I'm
my,
just
my my
saying.
one question to you is, have you seen Zootopia?
I have.
So yeah, like why haven't you seen Beastars?
Um, the animation's different. It feels weird.
Oh, okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
with Beastars because they do go from CGI to 2D a lot, especially in the older seasons. I would say, but like the only reason why I make the comparison, and this is something that I would tell a lot of people if they ask about Beastars, is that Beastars is a more mature take on Zootopia,
Mm-hmm.
where they go for I say like a little bit more realistic approach because they deal with the carnivores and the herbivores and what that means to that society where they try to have these anthropomorphic creatures live side by side. And with this season, I would say this season did a good job being a sequel season where it took the elements from the second season and built on it and made it so much better. Honestly, because to me, season 2 was a bit meh compared to Beastar to the first season. The first season was good in setting up for like the mystery box that is season 2, and season
Mm-hmm.
2 felt almost, I don't know.
Like it just didn't pay off the
It,
mystery box aspect
No,
kind of thing.
a little bit. It was sort of like, okay, this is very interesting. Why is the story going in this direction? It's sort of not. It's kind of out of left field almost. It's like, okay, this is
Okay.
weird. Why are we here? And then season 3 makes season 2 justified, and it's
Okay.
like, okay, now this is why we had those relationships. This is why we went there, and it's like, so it validated it, and it not only validated it, but it made it necessary, in a good way. So It was all of that, and not only that, but again, what I said about like the world of like the carnivores versus herbivores, like how do you have that sort of society, that sort of coexistence, and it's that sort of segregation sort of mentality, or us versus them, and then you had that parallel with another society that happens to be going on in tandem where everything is accepted for what it is, and you get to see that good parallel between the both of them. I would say the only thing that, so yeah, no, before I go any more, because like we're still just in our lower moons here, but it's I would say season 3 definitely was a surprise in how much better that it made the story progress and
Mhm.
where it's going to go. I would say there is something that they do that is like, okay, that's kind of jumping the shark, but in the confines, like for what it was good, because
Okay.
yeah, it was good for what it was, and yeah, it was just a good and probably necessary installment to the series. So that's what I have for my number 6. And uh so that is it there. Now we're going to be breaking in to our top 5, and let's go ahead, let's get ready with our top 5 hero there.
Hmm.
And Alonzo.
Again, not beating the allegations, man.
I'm sorry. She's just so
um,
cool.
she is. Don't get me
Yes.
wrong.
Yes.
I agree with you. I'm also not beating the allegations, but I look. We're not helping ourselves.
No, 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 no,
Anyways,
no.
um, my number 5, I would say, is a bit of a treat. My number 5
Mhm.
is D&D, Delicious and Dungeon.
Oh, Delicious in Dungeon. Okay. Okay. That's, I see what you did there. That was a very, very clever pun. So, that is a yeet for Jay,
Hmm.
and that is also a yeet for me.
Ooh, okay.
So, we are going to have to come back to that.
We'll save it for dessert.
Yes, exactly. And for Jay, number 5, this is a bench for me. And you could probably speak on this a little bit more than I can, but his number 5
Mhm.
is Too Many Losing Heroines.
I have not heard of this show.
Oh noes.
Yeah, so that's a bench for me. Too many heroines.
Yes. Hold on. Cause I honestly
We
was
need losing
losing
heroines.
heroines, yeah. I honestly was gonna I was benching on the fact that you may know about it because it seemed like up your alley. But
Oh, is it a cute girls doing cute things?
that's what it sort of seems like.
Yeah,
Let's
that's what. Yeah,
see.
I'm looking at it. It is that style. But I have not seen it, unfortunately.
So Crunchyroll's description. Oh, meet the girls on the side of losing romance. Ana Yanami, girl next door type, can't say no to delicious food. Then there's Lemon Yakishio, athlete, and Chika Kamari. And oh, they navigate the awkward setbacks of hoping to find love. So it seems like, at least like from the description, seems like
Hmm.
they've tried to go after some guys and they were rejected.
Hmm.
So, okay, that actually seems kind of novel, actually. Whereas like these
Yeah,
girls, like they come together and try to work through their feelings or work through the setbacks of being rejected. Now,
yeah.
with Jay, his these are his pros and cons. He says perfect blend of comedy and wholesomeness, and the con is intense secondhand cringe moments. So
Wait, that sounds like a pro. That sounds like a pro. What?
intense secondhand cringe moments.
Yes. What do you mean? I'm assuming, based on the fact that it's a high school setting, right?
Yeah.
Um, that it's okay. I don't understand. I kind of understand. I kind
Mm.
of understand why people are averse to feeling the cringe of like youth, right?
Yeah.
But like I feel that that just reminds you of like everyone goes through this, right? This is the kind of thing that everyone happens
But that
to.
doesn't mean we want
Like
to relive it.
but like it's cringe, but like I don't like it's like, oh, that's kind of cringy, but like I don't feel bad about it. I'm glad that I've learned, right? That like I can feel my own like progress in life having like seeing that. Like yes, it makes me cringe because I remember when like
Hmm.
doing maybe something similar, but then realizing, oh, but I've come so far, right? I am not that cringy little boy anymore. I'm not as awkward as I used to be, right? Like I think in my head it's just I'm like, oh, that's a positive because it reminds me of how far I've come, right? I guess for other people it's like they just don't like reliving the past, and I'm like,
No,
yeah, but
of
like,
course
huh?
not. Of course not. They
Yeah,
don't like reliving the
but
past.
like those who not learn from their past are fated to what is it again? It's like those who do not learn from the past are fated to repeat it,
Yeah, doomed to
right?
repeat it. Yeah.
Yeah. So like if you don't reflect and look back at what you've done and been like, you know what, that was cringy what I did, and then you feel a little cringe and you're like, but I've come so far. I have grown as a person as you should be doing, right? Like I don't know. I think it's a good thing to do every once in a while. That's just me.
If only we were all modeled reminder, or if we all enjoy our memories just like you model yours, like, because most of the time it's just like, oh, feeling, no, I've learned past this, I don't need to remember it. But
To be clear,
yeah.
that still happens. But the stuff that happens in these kinds of shows is typically like, oh, that was kind of funny that I did that, huh? That was kind of a little cringy, huh? Like it's very like there are still things I'm like I
Hmm.
cringe hard to that I've done that yes I've grown from that I do not thoroughly enjoy reliving. But like the things that they're going through, like those awkward moments, those are fine. Those are funny to like revisit every once in a while.
So to move on, um, oh, but it does seem like it seems like it's something that I would want to try to check out to see if it's any good. And if Jay's suggesting it, I definitely would want to give it a shot. Um,
Same.
and the premise seems pretty interesting. So my number five is, and it's bench for Jay, but my number five is Metallic Rouge.
Oh, I'm so sorry. It's a bench for me.
Oof.
But again, only
Yes.
because I just didn't have time to finish it.
You didn't finish it.
Like, yeah, with Dandian and Blue Box, I'm only
Yeah.
a couple episodes behind. I
Mm-hmm.
got halfway through the show before I just didn't have time to watch it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
But I let's sing its praises. The show's amazing,
Oh yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like, we can just start off with like the very first thing. Its animation is phenomenal.
Oh, it's
Um,
so pretty.
it's
It's
so good,
gorgeous.
easy to
Yes.
look at. Yeah.
Yes. And
Um,
they do the blending of the CGI to 2D as well. And it's
and they
not,
do it really well.
yeah, it's not rough on the eyes like most other works are. And because this was a Studio Bones project too, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I
So
believe so. Yeah.
um it was just very well done, and the story, we essentially follow this automaton and her handler, for poor lack of a better choice of words, and essentially they are trying to find out this mystery as another famous automaton, or an automaton maker, I forget who it was, but ended up being assassinated, and she is tasked by an organization to find the culprit. and as they go on, it's a funny, sort of like buddy cop type deal, and it's like the main character, just like you said, lot of like good wholesome stuff, like the interactions between the characters and even the story, because they explain like how the automatons came to be, and it's very, how would I say it, because again, it's like the us versus them, which is like the working class. I would say it was like the automatons in Metallic Roots is very akin to the automatons in Blade Runner, right? Where
Yeah.
yeah, they essentially have them. Well, a lot of them were used as a working force, and they were supposed to terraform this one planet. And I want to say too, like very much like in Blade Runner, like there are tests to see if you are an automaton or not, because some of them are so advanced to where it's hard to tell the difference between the two. I would
Mm.
say near the end, the story gets muddled up a little bit, but it feels like it's just because, like, this was an anime only as well, so it seemed like, and from what I could tell, like they were only supposed to get one season, and in the beginning, like the pacings are very well done, but it seems like near the end it's like, okay, we don't know if we're gonna have much time to do much else, so we have to rush things a little bit.
Mm.
But it was it was a very good time, and I would say like a lot of things that made it good for me were some of the characters. Like there was that one moment where she had to pick an automaton from a line of people on the air carrier, and she's like, "I'm," and this is the main character too, right? She's like, "I'm not so smart, so I'm just gonna punch everybody." And
Yep.
there was this old man, and there was this dog. It was hilarious.
Oh,
Um,
dude, it did
yes.
the thing of like it. I don't
Hmm.
I don't want to take this away from you because I'm not gonna say it, but like that scene, I think it is fundamentally like kind of what that who that character is. It's like,
Yeah.
well, if I can't figure it out, I guess I'll just punch it. But not in a like
It wasn't malicious.
kind
It's just like matter of fact.
yeah, it's just
It's like
it's
I
like
know
look,
that an automaton can take my punch, and like we're and like they were on a time crunch too. It's like we don't have
yeah.
enough time to figure things out. So
So it's like I will just punch all of you, um, and unless you tell me who it is, and none of them say it because they don't know.
yeah.
So she just starts punching people, and one of them literally like you wouldn't punch an old man, would you? Just like grab my beer,
Pretty much.
you know? Like
Yeah.
it's so funny, and her handler so for
Mm.
me the thing I really loved about this show and I'm actually so sad that I didn't actually finish it. I'm probably will later today. um is like their chemistry is so well done,
Hmm.
um and how they interact with each other because like yes, it's like a handler like talent like relationship, but you can see there is a degree of like warmth between them,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
Like they care about each other to like more than just on a professional level, and not anything romantic or anything, but like best friends who don't acknowledge that they're friends, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Because
To
she.
people who have kind
Yeah.
of
I'm
no, go
sorry.
for it.
No. I was gonna say because like they would do like simple stuff because like the handler would make some off comment remark, but then they meet up later and the handler gives the talent like her favorite chocolate bar. He's like, "Oh, I just happened to find this in the store or some shit like that," right? Like
Yeah, I didn't go out of
trying
my
to play it off.
way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go out of my way for you, idiot.
Very
Stupid.
Cinderay. Yeah, but I would say like that's probably like the biggest strength of the show is the character, because it's not they're not the only like buddy cop that we see, because we see another handler and talent as well, sort of paralleling them. And the way that they do both of those characters and the way they interact with each other, it's very top notch. So
Mhm.
that's why it's a little bit high on my list there. So that's all that we've got for Our number five, we got some more yeets. I'm now that we're going to be breaking in soon to the few top spots. We'll see what animes are going to be there. So that was our top five. Now we're going on to our top four. Number four slot. So
Ulquiorra.
exactly, Lonzo. Who is your number four?
My number four, some would say, is a bit of a showstopper, right?
Hmm.
My number four is Oshinoko.
Oh man, that's a bench for me. Hold on, let me check Jay's list real quick.
Dang.
Cool. Give me a second. Give me a second. Give me a second. Nope, that's a bench for him. Now,
Really?
yes,
Wow.
really, I
Wow.
it Oshinoko was good. It was good, but Alonzo, tell us why season two
No,
made
no,
your number four
hold on.
slot. Huh?
Tell me why it didn't make yours.
It
Because
yeah,
we watched this together,
we did. We
and it
did.
felt like we both thoroughly enjoyed this show.
No, no, we
Like
did. We did. We
we
both
we
we
were
did.
like losing our minds watching this show, right? The twists and turns and like
Hmm.
the plot reveals were like, oh my god, what? You know, like I. So I would like to know, and I'll gush about it
Hmm.
after. But like, why did it not make your top 10? Is it just that everything else kind of felt like it impacted you more, or is there something that you just didn't like about how this season played out?
I
I
feel
believe
like
like the first
maybe
season was on your top 10 last
no,
year,
no, no.
right?
The first season was definitely in my top 10. I would
Okay.
say with this season, probably partly with pacing in the sense that like it felt like in some parts it drug a little bit longer than what it needed to.
Hmm.
And I would say I need to go back and rewatch it, but it's like sort of like near the ending. Um because like the ending like it with the way that it's going to go, it's definitely going to be very interesting moving forward. But I don't know. I guess like it was a good following act to season one, but I don't know if it did better than season one. Like for instance, like the reason why like Beastars is on my list and the reason why Mashal is on my list is because it did better than season one, in my opinion.
Hmm.
Whereas
Okay.
Oshinoko season two, it was sort of on par as season one, so it wasn't necessarily better. But
Okay.
that's that's sort of where I'm at. So why is Oshinoko on your list?
Okay. So I have to disagree with you. I actually
Okay.
think that Oshinoko season two did do better than season one.
Okay.
Mostly because instead of like hitting all these like different aspects of like the entertainment business, we
Hmm.
focused on one, right?
Yeah.
Season two, for those of you who don't know, focuses entirely on a play that Aqua and a couple of the other characters are in, and like three-fourths of the season are just like what goes into making this play work, the rehearsals, script changes, like when you're adapting a work
Yeah,
from
you're
like a
right.
manga or something, like the intricacies of it, right? It focuses so much on this one aspect. I think it actually gives you so much insight into like the inner workings of that, and maybe not to like an exact degree, but like give you some idea of like how like that plays out in the real world. um because my understanding is that Japanese like copyright laws are super strict.
Yeah.
So if even if you license something, right, from a company who owns a work that a writer made, if they don't like something, you're not allowed to do it, right?
Hmm.
Like they have to like sign off on it at the end, like regardless. And this kind of goes into that, right? Like into like how that works and like why like things may take longer than what we're expecting. um, so I thought like the entire play section was phenomenal. Like elevated it to like an insane degree. The very first episode, even actually not even the first episode, like the whole play plays out for us as the season goes on.
Yes.
We're
Yeah.
watching it as though we were in the audience from that perspective, right? We do get some close-ups like that we would like normally, but for the most part, it's like it's kind of meta that we end up watching the play, right?
Hmm.
Um, and then like you were mentioning before, like the ending in like shows us the direction it's going in. We had some really insane reveals. Me and you sat down for like 30 minutes after the like one of the plot points was revealed. We're like
Yes.
dissecting it like
I had to
wait, what does this
decompress.
mean?
Yes.
We are decompressing, we are debriefing ourselves on like wait, what was just revealed. um
Hmm.
and so like for me, like that's why it made my top five, right? It's my number four for that reason.
Okay. No, and no, thinking back on it, like I probably should have at least like put it on the list because there was, as you mentioned before, like with the back and forth with the artist and making the play, that was good. And it was kind of cool seeing the shop talk where it's just like the sort of the telephone game that was going on as well. And even the aftermath after the play and where the anime is going. It's definitely something that I'm definitely a show that we're that's going to be on my radar like moving forward. But I would say like it's definitely something that should be on everybody's watch list for sure. So that was yeah, that was your number four. Now,
Mm-hmm.
for Jay's number four, it's going to be a bench for me. Bro, our lists are completely wild
Yeah,
this
they are
year.
so different.
And his number four is Ray Zero Season 3.
It is a bench for me as well. I did
Mm-hmm.
not watch it. I just I had to
Mm-hmm.
go back and rewatch season two because it's been so long
Yes.
that I was like I do not know remember where we left off. Um, so I was just like I unfortunately just don't have time to go back and rewatch it in order to like feel caught up to watch season
Mm-hmm.
three. Um, so not knocking it, just unfortunately just
Yeah, no, no, like
time.
you said, you have to go back and do, like you have to have time to go back and do the homework, because
Hmm.
I actually watched all of season three, and one thing that I had told you guys too is that the first episode is a movie length, it's an hour and a half, which is nice. However, I'll go into Jay's thoughts that he has here, and then I can speak my piece, and then we can see what you think about it if you're going to be
Hmm.
going in and giving it time. So, with the pros and cons, the pros is that the actualization of the main character as a competent leader and an actionable threat, and the con, tedious monologuing by the villains. And he's right on both accounts. I would say, in from what I've seen in the show, and one thing that makes Ray Zero stand out different from some of the other isekais is the curse or the power that Subaru has when he goes into another world, where he essentially has a save state. He dies, he goes back to that save state. He has that time mechanic that Jay has been talking to us offline, where he can go back and he can remake it, redo some things that he has um, regretted doing. And in this season, we have not needed that mechanic, mainly because of how what Jay has said, like how competent he has become as a person, as a leader. And even though he himself is weak, he makes himself an actual threat to his well to the adversaries, which in this case would be the witches occultists or the cultist
Hmm.
witches. Sorry if I'm saying it wrong, but essentially like they go to a town and some witch occulting shenanigans happen, and Subaru actually takes charge and starts putting people in place. And a lot of these people are people that worked with him before, So they believe in him and they believe that he is competent, that he can do things. And it's sort of us as the audience realizing it's like, oh, he actually can do this, right? We even
Hmm.
see him. I can't remember if it was this season or the last season because again, like you said, Alonso, there's just so much stuff that you have to catch up on. Where we see Subaru actually training, um, and before they go off on the journey.
Hmm.
So I would say like a lot of the stuff that you've seen, it's actualized here, and but I would say like a big drawback is just the amount of stuff that you have to go through to feel caught up, and the movie doesn't help because there's no like recap, and a lot of it is just exposition. So
Mm.
it doesn't really capture you. Like at this point, it's like you either in it or you're not,
Yeah.
and the story goes on, and later on stuff does happen, but like you have to slough through a lot of the exposition that's going on.
Gotcha. Well, because like
Hmm.
ReZero, right,
Yeah,
is a very dense show. Like
yeah.
it has a lot that it asks of you, and I think that's fine. Like there's nothing wrong with that. I think it's just that like how long it took to get our season 3 was like a deterrent. Like,
Yeah.
and unfortunately for me, it just is that way. Because the same thing happened to me with Attack on Titan. Season 2 did not come out for years, and then I just never went and watched it again.
Hmm.
Not like it just felt too far apart to be able to watch again. I mean that's not a hard and fast rule for me or anything. It was just a thing of like, oh, season 2 came out, missed it, right?
Hmm.
For this one, it was more of like, oh, it's been so long. I do want to watch this, but I do not remember what happened at the end. Um, like like season 1's ending was blurring together with. I was like, wait, that's literally not how. That's not even like season 1 ending. It was just one episode that happened because so much happens in this show. um and it's unfortunately like probably like a curse of the show of like how good it is and how much like it demands of its audience in order
Yeah.
to like appreciate it, that it like because of the time just deterred myself from watching it.
And like you said, there's just a lot because it's the story, the character interactions, and there were times where I'm watching it, I'm like, wait, he knows that guy? Who is that guy? And they're like talking as though like they have history. I'm like, I need to go back and rewatch it. It's just a lot. I would say probably like think about like Monogatari series, but like a little bit lighter, where like as you mentioned before, it's like just so much.
Yeah.
And like you would have to really pace yourself out if you want to try to get it all in. But I would say like if you've been a day one, it's definitely worth the watch because and to see Subaru come to become the knight that he claims that he is, because he's
Mm.
definitely putting the uh putting the put he has put the work in. So that was Jay's number four, and my number four was a yeet from me earlier. Let me see. It is
Windbreaker.
Delicious in Dungeon,
Oh,
and we're gonna
wait, is
have
that a
to
yeet for
that. So
Jay?
no. So because you had Delicious in Dungeon for number five,
Yeah.
and so like my Delicious in Dungeon was number four, and it's also a yeet for Jay. So we have a little bit more to go before we can get to
Okay.
his pick.
Sweet.
So that was our number fours. Now for number three, I try to be fair because as I said before, and trying to make the list, I'm not trying to redo some of the animes, but I've got a number three and a number three alternative, and so you can help
Okay.
me choose which one to use. So this was the
Sure.
original number three, trying to
Okay, Mr. 3. Sure.
yeah, and then this is the alternative for number three. trying
I
to
mean,
reference the big three, but we've already used My Hero once before.
yeah.
So we'll go
Uh,
ahead
let,
and
let's let, let's go with the One Piece. Yeah.
One Piece. We'll go ahead and we'll keep Mr. Three up here on the list. Now, Lonzo, who is
Yes.
your who's in your coveted number 3 spot?
So my number three really likes the number three for some reason. It was 3 acts. Each act had 3 episodes. There are 3 main characters. My number three, and the reason Wistoria got moved down. My number three is Arcane
I
season
was
two.
I was about to say like what? Cuz okay, I was not uh we talked about this. Okay. So, all right, let me look. It's a bench for Jay
Yeah.
and it's a bench for me, and as we
Yep.
had mentioned earlier, like we were sort of commenting on like what's an anime and what isn't, stuff like that.
Yep.
And like we had talked about this on whether or not like we would consider it an anime, and in our chats you're like, no, we're not going to consider it an anime, and you're just going to throw that out the window on the day of. So
Yeah. Yeah. I changed my
explain,
mind.
explain.
Okay. So here's something that I think anime does really well.
Mm-hmm.
That Arcane did is like similarly, right?
Yeah.
It takes, especially now where a lot of shows um tend to just be one season, or like arcs have to be a season long, right?
Yeah.
Which end up being 13 episodes or so, right? So they have to condense a lot of stuff into like a lot shorter time, because it used to be that we had 2 core shows is
Mm-hmm.
like was the regular, and then they went down to just one, or they'll split the core, right? So but you still have to tell a concise story, like a cohesive story within those 13 episodes or so, right?
Yes.
um Arcane did the same thing. They had their season 1, which was 9 episodes, and their season 2, which was also 9 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
Now these episodes are a little longer, but I think the like still the same idea of like being able to squeeze in a lot without saying everything. I think also the fact that like in anime we get a lot of information from like the OPs and the endings,
Mm-hmm.
and also like montages, right? Are probably like a good way of just like showing you either time or like how something is affecting the world, right? And something that they did heavily in this season is they used, honestly, AMVs to tell us, well, what happened last time, what's happening now, what is the current state of affairs, right? They
Yeah.
just used AMVs in such a way where they didn't have to tell you, they just showed you, and with music, right? It was very, very artsy. Um, and I mean, look, not, I think not to spoil anything, I'm gonna give a general plot thread, but it doesn't get much more anime than starting in a back alley, like no frills, like low level way of living, and then you end up killing God, right? Like tell me a more anime thing than you start from nothing fighting with sticks and then you go and kill God, right? Like Final Fantasy is known for that, right?
Oh my
And you're gonna tell
goodness,
me that's
yes.
not anime, right? Because when you asked me if Arcane was or wasn't anime, I was like, not really. But the series hadn't ended yet, right? Like I hadn't seen what we were getting to, and then the ending happened. I was like, you know what? This is the most anime thing like a Western show's done in a long time. We straight up took the plot of Final Fantasy and not literally just a meme about like the whole start from
Yes.
nothing and then kill
Yes.
God, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, and then they did that, right? Like it, like just go watch it. It's good. I just put it on here because I think I did this last year too.
Ah,
Whether it's an anime or
you
not,
just because
no, not last year, 2 years ago. Yes, just go watch it. Just go watch it. It's great.
I'm
It's
just
great.
mad because we had agreed that it was an anime, and you're just gonna change your mind because I would have added it too, But yeah,
Where
like
would you have put it?
that's not
I'm
important right now.
curious.
That's not important right now. We're
You don't
we're
want
we're
to
we're
think about
we're
that's fine.
we're 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 way past that. It's just that
Okay, all right.
like what you said, like it's very well done, and I would say too, like with we were talking about earlier in terms of time, right? Like with Ray
Mhm.
Zero with Attack on Titan, like there are so many years between each season, and I would say that with Arcane, they this is probably time management done well because it was
Mhm.
what 2 or 3 years since season one,
Yep.
and like it's just long enough to where like it's not in everybody's mind, but it's still on the back burner. It's still sort of there, but it gives
Yeah.
the animators enough time to do what they need to, and it's just very well done in terms of planning, time allocation, storytelling was great in both seasons, and excuse me, in what they did and what they had set out to do. It's very anime in how it's telling its story, and yeah, like what you said, it's definitely worth the watch. And even Jay, I forget, he said it was a good too because he just finished watching it recently,
Yep.
correct?
He said it was an 8 out of 10, which coming from him is like a 10 out of 10 for anyone else.
Yeah, it's
Like,
very high praise.
like Jay is very critical of like shows, like not in like like being an asshole way, but like he values like the work that they put in. So he
Oh
will
yeah.
like he'll make sure that like you understand that if he is giving it a high grade, it means something, right?
Hmm.
Which he did. You know, an 8 out of 10 is it is an amazing score in general, but coming from Jay is I think even more so, right?
Hmm. No, no, definitely does. Damn it, Alonzo. Just damn it, Alonzo. Um, so, ah, okay. So, with Jay's top three, in his third spot, it's a bench for me, and it will be interesting. It would definitely like wreck my ideas on what I think I know for you if it's on your list at this point right now,
Okay.
Alonzo. It's
Uh-huh.
Jay has the elusive samurai.
I did not watch it.
Same. But
Uh, but
yeah.
I heard it's good,
Hmm.
and apparently the animation's amazing, and it gets like the premise did not sell me,
Hmm.
but people talking about it made me want to watch it. Specifically, Jay mentioning and saying how it's really good made me want
Hmm.
to watch it. I just never got around to it.
Oh yeah. So what Jay has here, he says that the pros for it is like pure spectacle, best art direction for the year. The con
Okay.
is nothing particularly new. So I know
Okay.
that I think I saw the trailer for it the same time as you did, or I
Hmm.
saw it around you. And the thing that was off-putting to me was just at least like in the trailer, it because essentially we have a handler and a boy, and it seems like the guy is trying to groom the boy in order to become a great warrior, right?
To be
Yeah, yeah,
clear,
yeah, yeah.
when we say groom,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
not in the sexual way.
Not in the
We mean
sexual
like
way.
in
Not
like
yeah,
we mean in like raising this prince to be a king, right? Like that's the
yeah.
kind of grooming we
That
mean.
that sort of thing. But when I saw the trailer, the way that they interacted with each other, it made me think is like, okay, I don't like it was offsettling to me. How they
There was a
interacted. Yeah.
there was like I, it's a kind of whiplash. It's a
Mhm.
tonal whiplash, right? It went from being like very serious, like the trailer shows, it's like, oh, you've lost your family, blah 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 blah.
Mhm.
Everyone's gonna be after you, and then the dude does like a really funny face, and maybe this is just the trailer kind of like set me off because I think in general like gags are fine and they're funny and they're great when they're
Yeah.
timed properly, but maybe just the trailer didn't hit it for me. But that made me like be like, I don't need to watch this. It's fine.
Well, no, like for me, it was like when I saw them, it was like Hisoka looking at Gon, and I was like,
Ah,
I don't need a whole anime about this. And
right.
whereas with Hunter x Hunter, like Hisoka comes and goes, right? So it's like, okay, I have
Mhm.
time away from him, but
Yeah.
the premise is like these two, they're traveling together. It's like I don't need that 24/7. But
Right.
I have seen some of the fight scenes, and the like what Jay said, they are very, very well done.
Yeah.
So whoever worked on this is probably going to get pulled on for a lot of more future works as well.
Hmm.
So that was his number three, and now we're on to my number three, and we're going back from a yeet that was Jay's. Let me see. What number were you on here? No, no, no. Oh, it was an honorable mention for Jay, and it
Hmm.
is your number six. My number three is Kaiju number eight.
Woo! Woo!
Woo! So, uh, I just I'm trying to think because like I had oddly enough this work means a little bit to me because I guess like I'm putting on my hipster glasses. I started reading it before it was even thought to become an anime. And
Okay.
it was so very obscure and it was like, "Oh, I like this makes me happy and I'm glad that, they're doing well." And it's like, "Oh my goodness, they have an anime now." And it was it was very true to the manga, and the humor was all kept the same or similar, and the story too. I guess maybe because like I'm older now, like I can now appreciate stories focusing on older characters such as like Space Brothers or what is it? I was trying to think, or maybe like Sakamoto Days or something else like that. Because I am older, it's like, okay, this is a story about an older person, and them still trying to do fantastical things or trying to meet a goal,
Yeah.
and like it does it in a very good way. And I would say like the characters, the way that they interact with him, and even though like he is like the old man of the group, like he's sort of like the big brother uncle relationship. And there's one relationship like in most other animes it that he has with one of the characters that it could be very high very sexualized and inappropriate, but it's just very wholesome in how it's done,
Yeah. It is.
and I really appreciate them for doing that. And not only that,
Mhm.
but because of how the character is, everybody respects him for it. And not only that, but they also
Well, I
make,
mean,
yeah, yeah.
he earns their respect, right? To be
Oh
clear,
yeah, yeah, yeah,
because
yeah.
they don't respect him. Actually, they hold it against him that he is as old as he is,
Mm-hmm.
and then he earns their respect by showing them like, no, 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 I'm still useful. And I will put my life at risk for you, right?
Oh
It's
yeah,
not
yeah,
just
yeah, for
like
certain.
that
Yeah.
he is. It's not just like how useful he is. It is the fact that he has a big heart. He is
Mm-hmm.
willing to go out there for other people, you know, and like and that earns their respect, right? Like
Mm-hmm.
him trying as hard as he's trying because he is an old man.
Mm-hmm.
Not old man. I'm. He
He's
is
an
not old.
older man. He's an
He is an
older
older
man.
man. He is an older man, um, who is trying something that is generally left to the younger kids, right? Because to
Mm-hmm.
be very fit, and they see value in him having that fighting spirit, for lack of a better word.
Yeah.
Um, Also, like kaiju are cool, guys. Kaiju are
Yes, that
cool.
was
Like
so. Yeah.
it's just rule of cool. Who cares how like dead ass like this
Yes.
show is kind of the idea of rule of cool. Like the premise, a kaiju inhabits his body and now he has powers. Cool, literally cool.
Mm-hmm.
All right, and then he starts fighting other kaiju. That's awesome. How does it work? Who cares? There's some rules in there. They don't really matter because it's just cool.
Yeah, and I would say too, like they have an interesting thing to deal with, or an interesting storyline that they can play with, because it's very much like Parasite the Maxim, where like you have this character who has like this monstrous aspect about them, and the lines between his humanity and the animalistic instincts are blurring. And with him, you in Kaiju number 8, you have his character, and you have a kaiju who is becoming more human-like. So it will be interesting to see where they're going to go story-wise, to see if that's a same or similar route that they're going to take. And some of Jay's thoughts that are on Kaiju number 8. The pro is that the main character is older and he loves the monster design and decent fight choreography. The cons are progresses too quickly in between threats. So it seems like he likes to have like more breath in between
Yeah.
each action that happens.
Yeah, that's
So
fair.
yep, and that was my number 3, and oh my goodness, I the next few ones are going to be crazy. It seems. So number 2, can you see who that
My
is?
number two.
Yes, go on. Your
Oh
number
yeah,
2.
it's the number two samurai. Yeah, it's the number two samurai. It's Afro. Yes.
Afro. Sorry. All right, go on. Go on.
Good. All right, so my number two takes a couple of ingredients to like get itself working. My number two is Apothecary Diaries.
Oh my goodness. We did talk about this
What
earlier. No, because I didn't consider, because it was the second core that was ending in
this
winter,
year? Yeah,
correct? Yeah.
right.
I didn't consider that. Had I known, I would have
Uh,
put it on the list. It would have been on the list.
we
Okay.
talked about it. We
We
literally went through. We're like, what are we doing? We're like,
I
this year,
know.
okay. This year, it's
Yeah,
happening. What day?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
this year.
I should
Yeah,
have pulled it on Alonzo and put it on my list like 2 minutes ago.
bruh,
But
bruh.
it's okay. It's okay. It's okay. So, um, that's a bench for Jay. Apothecary Diaries is not on his list. So,
To be
Alonzo,
fair, I
yeah.
think we did not correctly determine what the year counted because I was told from January. I was like, all right,
From January, yeah,
January it is.
from winter. Yeah, so yeah, this January.
No, stop. No, we need to stop saying winter because we do not have the same winter. It's winter now, but it's fall for Japan apparently.
I know, I know,
Okay.
I know. I was using
Yes,
like the
that's
live anime
confusing.
chart. The live,
Yes, live anime chart. When you
yeah,
go to
they're winter.
January, it says Frieren, Apothecary Diaries are on there. Okay.
Okay.
I'm just
So
saying. I'm just saying.
tell the people why Apothecary should be up here.
Look, this is my thing.
Yeah.
For both of my like uh top two.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, it's probably true for all of them. Now you think about it, for like a lot of these. Um, I think a really good show in general has a really strong female protagonist or
Mm-hmm.
character, right? And Momo is one of the best female protagonists we've had, right? She is quirky, she is funny, she is brilliant, and she's not conniving. Conniving is a bad word. It's a negative connotation. She is she, she makes a lot of plans, okay,
Um.
and they tend to
Yeah.
work out. She does a really good job of kind of not manipulating, but like figuring out
Playing
and
people, or
solving.
yeah, yeah. I'm sorry. Go on. Go
Yeah,
on. Go on.
or like
Yeah.
understanding them, right?
Yeah. Understanding
Because
them. Yeah.
the main person she plays is her own dad, right?
Mm-hmm.
And like, and she does it in such a brilliant way, just like just to win a game, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's done so well. Momo is funny, um, and it's just the show is clever because it's basically a detective show masked with like um it's like
It's
detective political intrigue with some like medicinal apothecary stuff
yeah,
going on,
yeah,
you know.
it's like a pseudo realistic piece.
Yeah.
So because it is a time period, like there's that layer on it, and it makes the it highlights the detective stuff along with her own skills as well.
Mhm.
So No, I can concede to that. And like you said, the characters are well written, and I would say like it has to deal with because even before she got into that point, like she had to be self reliant too. So she is self reliant, but she can be not be a team player, but she can use people if she needs to. So it's not like
Yeah.
she is a complete loner or anything else like that,
Hmm.
or a misanthropist. So, oh my goodness, damn it! And like, they're getting another season too.
They
It's
are.
going to be
Yeah.
coming out in 2025. I can't not wait for it. And it damn you again, Alonzo.
This one was not my fault. You literally said from January till now.
Yep,
And I was
yep,
like,
yep.
okay, January, look at the
Okay.
list.
Okay,
Bam.
okay, 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 okay. I'll follow my own rules next time. I'll follow my own rules. So, um this is Jay's number 2. It's a bench for me, and I don't. It'll be interested to see what you know about this one. It is. I was reincarnated as a seventh prince, so I can take my time perfecting my magical ability.
I That is a bench for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um Again, I think this came out last season. Um Maybe this season. Um but I just haven't been watching that much anime.
Yeah, yeah,
Um
yeah.
so but I mean, again, if Jay is recommending an isekai,
Mm-hmm.
that sounds like an isekai we should watch. Um, what does he say about it? I'm assuming
So
it's not on yours, right?
no, no,
I
no,
think you
no.
just
Yeah,
said
yeah,
it.
yeah. I said it was benched on mine. So with him, his descriptions are the main character is a sycophant for magic and uses the scientific method to explore the world's magic system. The cons rides the line of Shota Echi territory. So
Okay.
I would say like the fact that he mentions like the scientific method, it reminds me a lot of like Mushoku Tensei a little bit, where it's like you
Hmm.
have that training where he's trying to figure out like magic. So if it's a little bit like that, that could be pretty cool. Say if the main character is a little bit like the guy from Dr. Stone who's animated about science, and
Hmm.
I would say like the thing about Mashoku that makes it a little bit endearing too is that he wants to learn magic so that he can make like mechas and stuff like that, right? Or at least some
Yeah.
figurines. So it'll be interesting to see if the main character wants to. Well, he would have mentioned it, so it seems like the main character likes magic for the sake of magic almost.
Hmm.
Um, I wonder because the title has to do with like the Seventh Prince. I wonder if there's going to be like some like political stuff that's in there as well. But I had seen that pop up a little bit in my feed, so I'll probably give it 3 episode test to see what I think about it for sure.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, no, it's so that was Jay's number 2. Hopefully you won't be so mad that I didn't spend as much time talking about that. Um, but my number 2, it is a yeet from Jay's number 7, and it is a
Hmm.
yeet from your number 10. It is none other than Windbreaker. That is my number
Woo!
2. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
So, with Jay's thoughts on Windbreaker is it captures how trauma recovery isn't linear, plus blushing MC. Cute blushing MC. He likes it when the main character blushes. And the con is shallow intro of side cast character. Now,
Shall wait. What?
shallow introduction of side cast characters.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah. And Windbreaker was pretty low on your list as well, Alonzo. So, what are your thoughts on it?
Okay. So let me clarify something.
Mm,
It is low on my list, right?
yeah.
But that's just because I love everything else here more, not because. Windbreaker is bad or less good, right? It's just the other things
It must be
came
less
closer
good if
to
you
my
like.
preferences.
It must be less good
No,
if you
no,
like everything else more.
no, no.
Yeah.
They just uh they just fit my fancy,
Mhm.
if that makes sense, more, right? They hit more of my, oh, I like this thing more, right?
Mhm.
Because it just hits more boxes, not because it's bad, right? So I love Tsunderes. If there's a Tsundere, I'm all in for it. Unfortunately, Tsunderes tend to be exclusively girls, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, that's fine. But every once in a while, you want to see a boy be a Tsundere. And we fucking have that here, right? Main character,
Mhm.
fucking Tsundere. He's amazing. Every time he blushes, it's great. You're like, oh my god, you're adorable, precious child. You are so cute. Please learn to be friends with these people, right?
Mhm.
Like, it's great. Um, the fights are pretty cool. Um, the I think the character so for someone who also just enjoys like delinquent type shows,
Yeah.
um, we have every single delinquent like archetype
Yeah.
in
Oh
the
no,
show.
no, yeah, you're right about that. You're right about that. So, and because we never really gave an overview for what this show was, so essentially we have the main character, the Sundere that you had mentioned. We have him get transferred to a new school, and because of his looks and how he grew up, I forget what the condition is called, but like, he has di
Heterochromia.
say it again.
He has heterochromia, right?
Yeah,
His left eye and right eye are
yeah,
also. It's like
heterochromia,
heterochromia, and his
and
hair is split in like
yeah,
different colors.
his hair is split in different colors naturally, and he's always been bullied for that his whole life. So he's always had to fight, and he transferred to this new school because he was under the impression that all they do is fight, and to be the top dog you just have to be the strongest. So he goes in with the intention of becoming the strongest, and he learns that the school is not like that. They are strong, but they are strong physically as well as strong in a different way in regards to their relationship with one another. And it's just very, very well done in how he is having his expectations broken down, very much like what Jay was saying, how he has to heal his expectations, and that and seeing him move forward and seeing them having to overcome, and even I don't know if you would call it like that a tournament arc, but like they have to fight against like another group of individuals, and seeing them having to overcome the physical and the emotional fight that each of those fights represented was just
Mm-hmm.
very, very well done, along with the choreography and the animation. And I just really want there to be a second season. As I had said this to you and Jay before, but I felt like this is what Tokyo Revengers should have been, and
Yes.
just because it's about the delinquent life, and it's very, again, well done. It's
Mm-hmm.
not nothing more that I can really say about it. So, oh my goodness. Now, I feel like we should be going on to our number ones here. So that was our number two, and it will just be very interesting to see what your number one's going to be, Alonzo.
Really? Because
Yes,
I already said it technically.
you already said it technically.
Sort of. I said it in the
Okay.
middle of ranting about like you told me like from this year to this or from this time to this time, um Apothecary Diaries and Freerin were on the list. My
Oh,
number one is
yes. Yes, I'm
my
sorry. Yes. Okay.
my number one
Of course,
is Freerin
Furin.
Beyond Journey's End. Yeah.
Okay. Damn it. All right.
Yeah. I'm assuming it's not on either of y'all's, right?
No,
Because
it's a bench
we
for the
miscommunicate.
both of us.
Yeah, because we miscommunicated about the time period.
It's okay. So tell because
Laysai.
wasn't Furin on your list last year or no?
Yes, but that's because we did it from
Yeah,
January,
yeah.
December.
Okay,
Yes,
okay. But
same thing. We did the same thing again.
all right,
Um,
all right. So tell the people why Frierin's on your list again this year.
all right. If you've been here before, you might have listened to my spiel last year. It will be very similar. But this time we got season two, or not season two, core two.
Mhm.
We got a tournament arc, right? And a tournament arc done in a very interesting way, where we it's not just PvP, it's group, right?
Mhm.
Or yeah, it's a group like fight, but it's not a fight. It's like, hey, be clever. Don't just you literally cannot just use magic in order to like succeed at this. You have to be clever and figure out something different in order to succeed at this thing. And test their intelligence, their wit, their ability to work together, and it's just such a phenomenal tournament arc, alongside the fact that like from the beginning our main character is like, yeah, this is pointless for me, and it just it mostly grows Fern uh in her own like, how do I put this, solidifying her own confidence in her, well, not that she was ever not confident about her ability, but seeing herself against other mages and how they pr- uh, um approach magic
Yeah.
shows her like where she's at, and also a scene that happens towards the end with one of the other characters of just like, you didn't flinch. She's like, yeah, I know. And it's just like mobs her entirely. And she's like, yeah, okay. You're cool with me. And it's just like, all right, okay, all right. I don't know, like this show does a lot for me in terms of like the whole
Mhm.
like strong female protagonist. We have
Yes.
two of them.
Mhm.
Um and then we have a dude who so th- here's the thing. I love romance anime. We got a romance anime in Frieren too, and not in
Oh,
a
yeah, because
not
okay, go on.
yeah, like, and not because like anything forced. Like the relationship that blossoms here feels very natural,
Mhm.
and they go through very, oh, I don't really know how relationships work. What am I supposed to do here? Like, this person's mad at me and I don't really understand why. Like, what do I do? Is like, and then we get to see the perspective that we're from. And it's like, bro, don't just go, go talk to her. Like, what are you doing? Right?
Mhm.
We literally have a character tell him, don't be stupid. Just go talk to her. I apologize for what you did. All right. And if you didn't necessarily think you did something wrong, they took it the wrong way. Right? Like, go talk to them. Like it's just it's good. Go watch it. I I'm I'm gonna basically reiterate what I said like last year. Just go watch it. It's
Oh my
great.
god. Yes, it is. Saturn's not on my list. Okay. So, that was good. And now Jay's number one, it was a yeet from your number five and my number four. And his number one is Delicious in Dungeon.
Ooh.
And he has it as the pros being perfect adaptation, dreamt of with deep characters, Western fantasy, world building, and fun atmosphere. Con, half the cast starts out awful in a not fun way.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair.
Mm-hmm.
They
But
are
yeah,
all pretty unlikable. Well, except for Senchi. He's like
yeah.
the only one who's like
Who shows up
pretty
and
good from the
yeah.
beginning.
Mm-hmm.
Because he's just a dude. He's like, oh hey, I just want to cook, and they're like, okay. And but they all grow, they all develop, and they all
Mm-hmm.
become good.
No, it's I would say it's not necessarily like a different take on dungeoning in anime, but it does very much to your highlight earlier or your pun earlier. It has a very D&D feel to it. It's probably the
Mhm.
most D&D that I've seen out of a Japanese work, and and it was very well done, very well thought out, and for me, like the reason why it was a little bit lower, because like it had that comfort food type feel, right? Where it's like, but it's nice, it's relaxing, even though there are high stakes. It's like it's at a regular pace. It's like, hey, we have this impending, this important overarching thing, but we need to take our time to get there, right? That
At,
sort.
at, at,
Mhm.
yeah, as Senchi says,
Yeah,
well, you'll be of no use if you die from hunger. Right? We have to take
essentially,
a moment to eat. You know.
yes. And with and that's another thing too, because like how they obtain their food, how they overcome some of their obstacles. It's not just beat 'em up stick. Like very much like a party, they have to plan things accordingly,
Hmm.
and everybody's skills are used essentially. Where you have Hillchuck, how he has to find traps, he has to undo traps, and he doesn't he doesn't like mimics like how Frieren doesn't like it, but maybe because he has a lot of a harder time than
Well,
Frieren does. But yeah,
Frieren just does not care about mimics. She's like, well, I can't tell whether or not there is something there because mimics inherently have magic, so I can't really
yeah,
use the thing. So she just always opens them. So she
mm-hmm,
doesn't like them because she gets stuck, not because like she has an aversion to them.
yeah,
Whereas Chilchuck has seen enough people die to them that he's like, I will just stay away.
mm-hmm. And I would say too, like the it's interesting too because like what Jay had mentioned that the characters aren't so Chilchuck like he could have seemed unlikable, like a lot unlikable, but I would say like the way they introduce some of the characters as they come on, like they do seem a little bit more realistic. Like with Chilchuck, he's like, "Yo, I'm in the beginning. It's like I'm just here for the money." He's like, "You already paid me. I'm here to do my services." You know, trying to make sure that his name doesn't get sullied, and
Hmm.
it's refreshing in the sense that like they're realistic. He's like he has a job to do, but later on, like I guess like shows some feelings towards the party that he's working with, and I would say too like it's also I probably have to rewatch it because of some of the lore that they have built up regarding who made the dungeons and why they're being made. For instance, that dark elf that I forgot what the tall man's name is. That he saw in some of those paintings. I need to go back and
Hmm.
rewatch those scenes because there was some timey wimey stuff that was happening that sort of tripped me up there. But it's definitely worth a watch if you want to see a good Western uh, Eastern fusion. And who would have thought that it would
It,
be D&D as a cooking show, essentially.
yeah, I was gonna say the food puns are insane. I think you did
Yes.
it unintentionally with the like Western Eastern fusion.
It was.
Like,
It was. But I need to be a courageous person and intend all my puns as all people should. Otherwise they're just cowards, right?
exactly.
So, my number one is Jay's number six, and is also your number eight. My number one is Dandadan.
Dun
So
dun 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 dun
the
dun
reason why I have
dun
it
dun
so high up is because, and with Dandadan, it had a special showing where
dun.
they showed the first three episodes in theaters, and in theaters they had the well, before I go any further, I'll have Jay give his words and his thoughts on Dandadan. He says the pros and cons of Dandadan are as follows. Enjoyable roller coaster of comedy and action with a rarely explored ship between wimpy guy and badass girl. Con, there is no side cast. And um
What?
yeah,
There's sidecast.
I would say like in the sense that well, it feels like as the show goes on, it feels more or less like One Piece, whereas like they all become part of the crew. Whereas like if there's somebody that's introduced, they're now part of the main thing.
Uh,
Like
I
the
see.
yeah they become they expand on the romance or the ship that's there.
Okay.
So
I know Jay can't
yeah
defend himself, but
yeah.
like, so we're just ignoring Momo's friends. Like, they're not the side cast. They're not there to like support our girl every once in a while.
Not
Tell her that,
really,
you know what, you're
no.
being. What do you mean? They're literally there to like, you're being a little crazy. Like, are you sure you're okay? Aren't you dating him? Like, they are there. They are her homies, and they are a good sidecast. And to say that like we have no sidecast when they exist, unless like, because like I haven't watched like the last like couple episodes, but like,
Yeah.
do they just become part of the main cast? Are they like fighting like
Oh no no no! Like
spirits and stuff?
no no no, with them no they okay, so they're probably the truest form of side cast characters.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess like because we just focus on her and Okaroon, it's and because she has friends, but like with
Yeah.
Okaroon it's just him. So like the world sort of revolves around those two. But
Yeah.
just to go back real quick, what I was trying to say was um the point that I was trying to say about the theater viewing was that they had the interviews with the mangaka and the editor, and they said that they made it a point to read so much romance before writing it, and it shows in this work in the sense that they understood and they made like almost all the characters that we see or that's introduced, they're fully fleshed out people, and it's very well done, like very much like what Jay was saying is like the roller coaster that you're going through, like it's action and then you have some serious scenes and then it's comedy.
Mm-hmm.
It changes tonally several times throughout the episode, but it's not jarring. It's like, okay, this is a different switch up, that sort of thing. And I would have to say, because I'm looking back on my list, Beastars could be considered romance, but
Yeah,
that
maybe
yeah,
it is, right? No, I mean, it could be
yeah.
considered. Also,
Sorry.
the
Oh yes.
the creator of Down and Down has said this is a romantic comedy.
Yeah.
Like, you know what? I'm proud of you. I'm
That
so proud of you.
that's
You put a romance anime as your number one uh, for the year.
that was the point. It's
Amazing.
like this is like the only romance that I will concede that I put on my list, and because of how it's done, because even like the last few episodes, like whenever I guess maybe that's like how I prefer to take in the romance stuff is that once there is a conflict or like so like without fail, like if there's something that happens between Okaroon and Momo
Hmm.
that like say like Okaroon has this realization or has some sort of realization that he thinks that he has, boom, action sequence, and then it's him having to, or him or them, either one, like they have to overcome the obstacle, and in overcoming the obstacle they realize what was hemming them up romantically, right? So it's
Hmm.
like them physically working out what the issue is, and I really like that. So
Yeah.
again, like I think that's why I sort of took a liking to it, but I've taken a lot of the airtime. So like, what? Why was Dandadan on your list, and why didn't you love it as much?
Okay, I said before it would be in my like top five, if not top three,
Oh yeah, if
if
you
it
had finished
wasn't
it,
for the
yeah.
fact that I just haven't finished it.
Mhm.
Right? Because like everything about it so far, I've loved.
Mhm.
Um, I've not heard anyone mention anything about it like falling off or anything. So
Yeah.
I'm pretty confident this will be in my top 3, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like realistically, um, I would probably push Arcane down to 4, if I'd finished it.
Yeah.
Um, but like you said you like the fact that they resolve like their problems through like fighting other
Or
things and they kind of like work it out. I
yeah.
agree with you, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I also like the fact that like their relationship started off of like her being seeing a guy getting bullied, being like he says they're being assholes, right? I'll be nice
Mm-hmm.
to him, and him being like, wait, she's nice. Like I want to be her. Like this is the part I was like, he just wants to be her friend,
Yeah.
right? That's how it started. There was no like, oh, I'm in love for her because she was nice to me. He was like, wait, no, there's someone I can share stuff with. I can be she can be my friend. And then they start arguing like friend, uh
Mm-hmm.
like I was like, look, aliens are real. It's like, no, they're not. You're dumb. You're stupid. Well, spirits are real. It's like, you're stupid. No, they're not. And they're like, bet, right? And so they go off, they do their thing,
Yeah.
and then like immediately after resolving all of that, their first instincts when they get back to school is,
I want to talk to
dude, I
this person.
really
Yeah.
want to talk to this person.
Yeah.
Why? Because like I want to learn more about their interest. This thing
Mm-hmm.
I'm curious about it. I want to learn more about what they have to bring to the table. Like, and it's just a genuine friendship like that evolves into something more, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like they start caring about each other more so than just like friends. But like that's generally how like most young relationships start, right? It's that
Mm-hmm.
like you make a friend, you start hanging out together, and then it becomes something more sometimes, right? Like it's just nice to it not be something where one of them is like super infatuated with the other one because they look cute, right? Like there is a moment where he's like, oh wait, she is cute, huh? And he kind of like thinks about it for a second and then kind of moves on, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like it's great. It's just good. It's just good.
No, 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 like you said, it's a natural progression of things. It's nothing's really forced. It's the characters being themselves, and it's very refreshing to see that. And it, I was just gonna say, like, if it was maybe toned down a little bit, like maybe I would like suggest it to like some of the younger cast or not cast, but like younger people. But like
Mm-hmm.
once you're like past a certain age, I would definitely like suggest it because it's chef's kiss, very well done.
Mm-hmm.
And again, so like that was all of our personal individual lists, and right now we have taken all of our entries and we put them in the Weebs on the Weekends computer to generate the official list from 2024 that we think are the top 10. And with much deliberation, we have gotten it together here, and we're gonna go from number 10 on to number 1. Alonzo, would you like to start?
Number 10, Wistoria, Wand and Sword.
Number 9, Kaiju number 8.
Number 8, Seventh Prince.
Number 7, Elusive Samurai.
Number 6, Windbreaker.
Number 5, Arcane.
Number 4, Apothecary Diaries.
Number 3, Dandadan.
Number 2, Frieren.
And number 1 for top 10 anime of the year is Delicious in Dungeon. Oh my goodness. Look.
The
Woo!
crowd goes wild.
Well, I don't know. Hopefully they'll go wild in a good way. Looking back at it, we could probably move things around to where Kaiju number eight's number eight, Seventh Prince is seven.
Oh yeah, you know what? You're probably right.
Probably need to do that. But
It's
no,
alright. It's
yeah,
alright.
no, it's still pretty good, solid list, and I've had fun. It was good talking about all the anime that came up this year. So we'll go ahead and we'll just go back to the studio like I normally have. And I would say, Alonzo, is there anything that you're looking forward to in the next anime year?
Um, Solo Leveling season 2 for
Yes,
sure.
yes.
I don't think of what else has been announced for next year. Um, I can't really think of anything. Oh wait, Apothecary Diaries comes back.
Yep.
Season 2 starts in 19 days. Yes. My
E.
Happy Marriage is apparently coming back as well.
Oh,
Um,
okay. Yeah, yeah, that'll be cool.
yeah, I'm just like looking through this. Because yeah, there's a couple of things that I want to watch. I'm sure
Hmm.
I'm sure that I'll find other stuff um that I'll enjoy.
Oh no
But that's
no.
I can't really think of anything else that's like that I know is coming out this year. Is there anything that you're looking forward to?
Like you said, Apothecary was coming out. I forgot about My Happy Marriage. It's cool that they're coming back. I am looking forward to Sakamoto Days.
Okay.
I've seen some trailers, some PVs, and that seemed pretty good. And
Mhm.
I want to say, isn't Undead Unluck coming back, or they're supposed to be getting something?
I'm not sure
Yeah.
because I realized um the etchy stuff comes off a lot different when it's animated than when it's on the manga. So I really love the manga, but I'm like, this feels like a lot when it's animated.
Like this
I
is a
just
little
couldn't keep
intense.
watching it.
This
Yeah, no, it feels a little worse, and I'm like, maybe this isn't okay.
isn't
Um,
as good as I thought it'd be.
yeah, yeah, no, basically. Um, oh, also,
Mhm.
I meant to mention Windbreaker season 2 is also coming out this
Oh
year.
yes. Okay, I am looking forward to that. Wasn't there I think Beastars season 3 core 2 is coming out as well. But I want to say there was like another half. Oh no, the second half of Shangri-La is coming out
Yeah.
because like I've been catching that, but it's good,
Oh,
but not really noteworthy, not yet. Anyways.
yeah, yeah. No, that's where I'm at with Shangri-La.
Hmm.
It's like I think I had such high expectations after season 1, forgetting that like okay, we've done a big boss, now we have to kind of reset again and build back up.
Pretty
Um,
much.
yeah. Dan and Dan season 2 is in
Yes.
July.
Yes.
Um, oh wait, I think you showed me a
Mm.
trailer for this. A show called Virgin Punk. Um,
Yes. 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 Yes.
I
Yes.
I want to watch that so badly. It
It.
looks so good. Um, there's
Mm.
apparently no actual release date, just that it's early summer. Um, there we don't know how many episodes it is or anything.
I honestly thought it was going
Apparently,
to be a movie.
I did too. But apparently, I mean, Life Chart that has it on TV shows. So there's
Okay.
that.
So it might be like
Yeah,
a ONA or something like that.
yeah.
OVA, yeah.
Well, no, because no,
Oh
because
no,
they
like
have
an
those as
actual
a separate
show. Oh
thing.
yeah, yeah, yeah. So it's
Yeah,
like an actual show. Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Nice. So, all right, let me see. I'm trying to think cuz I'm probably going to check out Heroines, Seventh Prince. What else? What there was I feel like there was another anime that Jay had on here. Oh yeah, Don Machi. I'm going to have to catch up on that to
Can you
see.
send me Jay's list so I have stuff to watch?
I
Because
know, right?
I know Jay has good taste and we share a lot of the same
Hmm.
stuff. So if I just missed it, like
Yeah.
I'd want to watch it.
All right. Cool. I'll go ahead and I'll send it to you. And again, man, I appreciate you coming on, talking about this with the anime, with the list. It was fun as always, and man, like I said, at first, like, going into this list, I'm like, this year wasn't so good for anime. But like going back, it's like, yeah, this it was a decent year. It's like
Well, I
I was
mean,
just tripping, yeah.
we had vastly different lists. I think
Mm-hmm.
that speaks to volumes to like there was just a lot of like if not like pretty good, like great anime this year
Mm-hmm.
to the point where we just didn't agree on a consensus of like, oh, it was because like I think in years where there is a consensus of like these are the 10 best anime of the year, it's like, oh, so there wasn't that much to where there's like some deviation, like you just change the order and it's the same.
Yeah.
Whereas this year it's just like we there was just so much good different stuff that we all like watched, you know?
Yeah. And it's weird too, because like a lot of us like are in the watch party, so we watch a lot of the same or similar stuff. So like the fact that we were still able to get different stuff on our list, it is a testament to the wide variety that's out there. So
Hmm.
yeah, no, very very cool. So again, Alonzo, appreciate you for coming on and helping us out with our list as always. And definitely am looking forward to the new year and can't wait to talk more anime with you in the future.
Yeah, of course, anytime.
Okay. Again, we here at Weebs on the Weekends wish you and yours a blessed and safe holiday season. Thank you for being with us this entire year, and we look forward to seeing you next year as we look to see what 2025 has in store for us. Until then, see you next time.